Gluten-free ganja, oh no, it's not the same. Puffing on a diet herb is just a crying shame. Looking for the real feel, the one no lightweight thrill. Need that rich and heavy from the Orders Hill. Full fat ganja, make the vibes just flow. Full fat ganja, feel it in my soul. They say eat healthy, but it don't apply here. Real ganja keeps me steady, let's make one thing clear. You don't need a diet plan for a higher state of mind. Just head to the Orders base and leave gluten behind. Puff, puff, pass with the weight of the past. Good vibes last where the richness is vast. Full fat ganja, make the vibes just flow. Full fat ganja, feel it in my soul. They say eat healthy, but it don't apply here. Real ganja keeps me steady, let's make one thing clear. You don't need a diet plan for a higher state of mind. Just head to the Orders base and leave gluten behind. Puff, puff, pass with the weight of the past. Good vibes last where the richness is vast. Full fat ganja, make the vibes just flow. Full fat ganja, feel it in my soul.
Mm, Fuck, okay. Saturday morning, huh? Very late morning. Mm, fuck. All right. I missed you. I missed you. How are you doing? It's been like a couple of days, right? Well, you'll have to forgive me for that gap in content. No Gablo, no nothing this week. But that's because I've been focusing on other things. But yeah, don't worry. It's just this week. And I took care of things anyway. And that means that very, very soon I'll put my apartment for sale. Fucking finally. And then I can move to a temporary place, and then the sale is gonna be completed, and I'll get my money, and I'm out of here. I'll go somewhere. I don't fucking know where. We'll see. I have a couple of choices, but I haven't completely decided yet. Anyway, so I'm happy about that. And I'm also happy about the new build I'm planning, my new PC build that I'm planning. I think it's pretty cool. I might have to backtrack to what I said, like in what I said, like take it back. Maybe I'll still have an NVIDIA GPU after all. I don't fucking know. AMD is looking really fucking good right now, though. We'll see. It just depends on pricing over here, really. And I want to wait for the benchmarks for the new AMD GPUs. I don't know what to say about them yet. The price seems very good, but I want to see like benchmarks. And then I decide, and then yeah, something unexpected. I will also invest in VR. Not sure if I'm gonna do it like immediately with a build or like 1 month after or something, but I'm definitely gonna try VR. And you know, if I don't like it in the end, I can just like sell it. I can just sell it to someone that actually enjoys that shit. We'll see. But I definitely have to try it, and there's no way for me to try it either. Nobody here that I know has any interest in VR, so nobody like can show me around. So yeah, it's gonna be a blind buy, and we'll see how that goes. And I mainly want it for Skyrim, believe it or not. I want to experiment with mods there. Though of course for streaming Skyrim, I'm not gonna do VR. Anyway, those are all kind of details. The important part is I hope you're doing fine. I'm doing relatively fine. I'm okay. And today I wanted to just watch a couple of videos with you. And the problem with that is that like every week there's gonna be at least 2 videos. Like the amount of stuff I want to watch with you and talk about increases instead of decreasing. And I find that kind of overwhelming slowly. But hey, okay, whatever. It's stuff, right? It's stuff we can fucking watch, isn't it? And so at this point, this is like something I skipped through a little bit over here. I haven't really watched it, but like the title caught my attention immediately. Like, why we hate polyamorous people. Like, why do you hate me? Why, Lady in Red? Why the fuck do you hate me? I want to see. And then I want to watch this with you, which I haven't watched. And you know me and Final Fantasy, right? I mean, if there is like an interesting watch, yeah, I'll be on it immediately. And so, yeah, those are the 2 things we're gonna watch. Think that they are both about an hour long. I don't know if I'll watch all of it or skim through, kind of. Maybe skip a few parts that like I feel are like, you know, obvious or something we've talked about before. We'll see. But first, an interesting sound check. Let me line this up properly.
So a few months back, I was
All right,
doom scrolling.
scrolling, huh? Few months back. Okay, let me increase the sound a bit. Maybe here. Let me see.
So
Okay,
a few months
more, I
back.
guess. What about like now?
So
There we
a few
go.
months back.
Okay, and it's possible that my phone is picking it up. Wait, let me check.
I was doom scrolling on Instagram. Wouldn't recommend. And I came across
Okay, so it seems to be partially picking it up. Okay, wait.
So a few months back,
Yeah,
I
this
was
is perfect.
doom scrolling
Okay.
on.
All right, so you know how the deal goes. I'm just gonna watch these with you, and I'll just be posing and commenting, and that's pretty much it. And you know, I don't intend any like theft of material or copyright thing, legal words that mean things. I just, you know, I just want to watch a video with you and comment on it, and yeah, and find out why we hate polyamorous people. Which, yeah, honestly, why? But okay. Being polyamorous myself, I'm just very interested in this. I didn't know you guys hated us. That's news to me. But hey, at least I'll know why after this, right? Okay, so let's fucking do this, I guess. I'm ready for it.
So, a few months back, I was doom scrolling on Instagram. Wouldn't recommend. And I came across a video of someone sitting on their kitchen
Doom scrolling on
floor.
Reddit? I understand it. Doom scrolling on Instagram. What? What? Okay, I have to look into that.
Crying. I clicked on the comments and holy moly, to say that the atmosphere was unsympathetic would be an understatement. It was downright hostile. Now, let's put aside the strange, sad fishing setup of the whole thing. I acknowledge that filming oneself crying and then posting it online is something that would be inexplicable to a medieval peasant. I wouldn't
Guess I'm a
recommend it to a
medieval
friend.
peasant.
But the comments weren't all about that. In fact, most of them were about something else, saying that she had it coming and rejoicing in her sadness. Now, what did this person do to deserve such vitriolic mockery online? At first I was sad, then I saw
Oh
Polly.
no. Oh no. Oh no. This is gonna be a deep dive, isn't it? Okay, cook.
It was a Polly, of course it failed. Womp womp, polyamory L, Clowntown population U. Wow, a failed Polly. What a surprise. Be polyamorous. There's a lot going on here. The internet has gotten too mean. It feels like people have gotten meaner. Anonymity and disconnect emboldens people to say things that they would never have the guts to say in real life. At least I hope. I also can't help but notice that most of the comments seem to be coming from people who appear to be men. Why didn't you post the argument online? Would love to know his side. Oops, someone missed the lesbian and WLW hashtags. Or perhaps he just doesn't know what a lesbian is. But the aspect I want to focus on today is the hatred towards this person being polyamorous, because it isn't exclusive to the comment section of this video. People really have beef with poly
Alright,
people.
so yes, they do, but I didn't know it was like that widespread. My guess is it's because they have been hurt by someone irresponsible in how they are polyamorous. That is my take on it. But I don't wanna like elaborate until I hear more.
Me losing all respect for someone the moment they say they're polyamorous. Oh, you're poly? Yeah. We have literally nothing to talk about. You
Yeah,
can leave
I'll
me
gladly
alone
leave you
forever.
alone forever. I'm sorry, but like, yeah, I'm not trying. Nobody's trying to push how they are on anyone else. Like, what do you mean leave you alone? Like, dude, yes, I would. I would absolutely leave you alone. I don't care.
This is how
Really?
polyamorous people look to me.
So people see polyamorous people as badly done, like plastic. What? Okay.
Happy Valentine's Day. My name is Tara Mooney and this is the only channel on YouTube where all videos are written and produced by a cow. She couldn't be in the video today because she's actually
Yeah, this
hosting a
image is kind
Valentine's
of disturbing. I'm sorry.
event, but if you... Wait, she didn't invite me. That is rude. Cancel her. But if you like this video and subscribe to our channel, she might
please.
appear in the next video. Look, a feline. Isn't he cute? He has a message for you. Mr. Ella has
What are we
many bad
watching?
habits.
Get to the point. Okay, where's the point? Okay, let's go here.
Channel. The word polyamory is on people's lips, especially of late. And despite the premise of this video, social awareness of polyamory is growing. But it's no new thing. The practice of non-monogamy
We're gonna have a
exists
history lesson. I'm not, you know me. I don't really care about history lessons, honestly. All right, I'll let it roll a bit, and then I'll let her try to get to the point.
across the world. You'll see that today that a lot of the representation of these kinds of relationships, in the mainstream media and the press tends to be focused on middle class and upper income North Americans. But representation does not always reflect reality. In fact, it often doesn't. Ask a poly person to define polyamory.
Challenge accepted. For me, and this is like just for me because everyone experiences differently and functions differently as a polyamorous person, but for me it is the ability to have feelings of the same caliber for more than one person at the same time, and it comes with the downside of feeling exactly this extraneous feeling, if that sentence made sense. Which if it is not satisfied, then you feel like there is a gap there. Essentially, you a part of you essentially feels like you're single, but it's manageable, and I guess that's the downside. So I'll take it, I guess, because that's how I am. But yeah, that's the simplest definition you can come across, I guess, and I don't know why it has to be such a complicated science, but then again, considering that everyone can be doing it in their own way or experiencing their own way and expressing it their own way, yeah, you could say it's a complicated subject, I guess. But by definition, polyamory is exactly what I said, I think.
Each of them will give
Yes.
you a different answer. Kat Black has a wealth of videos and insight on polyamory and was my online introduction to it.
I'm polyamorous and I wanted to talk about what polyamory means to me personally.
Why do we have to
For
see
me
you shaving your eyebrows when you're talking about this, though?
Personally, polyamory is not about having multiple sexual partners. It's about having love.
Yeah,
for
so
more than
far
one
that is
person.
correct. Those two are not mutually exclusive either.
And being able to maintain that romantic love with more than one person. I sort of look at my capacity for love like a glass and the water in the glass as love. And I think that my glass is a little bit larger than a lot of other people's. So I'm totally capable of having multiple commitments to
Yeah, that
more
is
than
a
one
very good
person.
definition. Like this is almost like how I feel, yes.
And no, I'm not polyamorous because I couldn't find somebody to be monogamous
True.
with me. In fact, I kind of realized that I was polyamorous when I was in a monogamous relationship. And I realized that it was totally possible for me to love another person, and I would be totally comfortable with my partner also loving another person.
So that last bit is very personal to each of us. I mean, there are people who, and it also depends on it really depends on the partner, on the person. Like it's such a complicated matter, but not complicated, but nuanced. That's the word. Complicated it isn't, but it is nuanced because everyone will just be their own way of polyamorous, right? But yeah, there are people who they themselves want to have multiple partners, but they're not okay with their partners having multiple partners, for example. It's not far-fetched. I have experienced this before, and it does sound very selfish and everything, but like, listen, when it comes to love, among other things anyway, there isn't such a thing as rules, right? There's just your own moral compass and your own like criteria and standards and what you want. And as long as you're not like forcing it on someone, all they have to say is like, oh, I'm not interested. And that's cool. That's fine.
What I've appreciated about polyamory is it allows me to appreciate my partners for their very own unique.
I only date polyamorous people and do not believe in convincing mono folks to be poly. Yeah, I mean, that would be kind of psychotic, wouldn't it?
Qualities as opposed to resenting them for not being my absolute everything. I have 4 long-term partners and I'm very, very happy.
With 4, I would probably explode. With 4 partners, I would probably explode.
Now, I think it's important to define my terms to avoid any misunderstanding. So let me do so. So poly comes from the Greek word
correct.
for many and amory from the Latin
correct.
for love. Poly, many, plus gamy, marriage equals polygamy, i.e. multiple spouses. Polygyny, when a man
I mean,
has
you
multiple
can
wives.
list the words as much as you like, but like it's forms of polyamory. Fine, it's whatever.
Polyandry, when a woman has multiple husbands. Polygamy is illegal in most places. Just because someone is polyamorous doesn't mean they're pro-polygamy. And even if they are pro-polygamy, they may not advocate for it on religious grounds, but more that polyamorous relationships can be recognised under the law. Nonetheless, I'm solely going to be focusing on polyamorous people today, not polygamists. The people I'll be referring to will mostly be in North America, because most of my sources are in English, and as a classic uncultured Brit, I only speak English.
Okay.
I do. That's my cultural reference. I am trying to learn Simlish though.
Sleep globe, baba gadloo, gloopsy, grabban doopy, greebo.
What the fuck are we watching now?
Group go, gabbin.
Not apply to the word monogamous. We use monogamy, one
Well-
plus marriage.
Not exactly. Not exactly.
Apply to the word monogamous.
Um,
we use
It's more single than one. It's more to denote the word single than one. But it's yeah, whatever. It's semantics.
monogamy,
It's the context
one
that
plus marriage, to refer to any arrangement where two people only commit romantically to each other, regardless of whether they are married or not. Ambiamorous is a term to describe people who are content with both monogamous and polyamorous relationships.
So we're starting to complicate things so much. I don't think I care much personally, because, like, you know, of course I'm gonna be talking about me because I'm streaming. You know, this is my stream, so I'll just respond, quote unquote, respond as myself, obviously. I don't much mind if one of my partners, let's say, is actually monogamous. For example, if they're like, okay, you can do what you want, but I'll be exclusive with you. I'll be like, yeah, you do you, you know, as long as it works. I think that was like, I don't think it needs like a label, but okay, whatever.
Some people who are polyamorous define it as a big part of their identity, whereas some people just refer to it as a relationship style that they happen to practice. Polyamory allows for multiple romantic and sexual connections, whereas open relationships are typically defined as a relationship where two people
So in an open relationship, you're free to have fuck buddies, but you stay emotionally committed to only one partner. Yeah, that is essentially a good way of saying it. Okay, I will agree with this one. Yeah.
commit solely to each other, but allow for sexual explorations with others. Swinging is an example of this. There's also the term monogamish,
What is
coined
that?
by author, columnist, and gay activist Dan Savage, which is mostly monogamous with a little squish around the edges.
Okay, well, we're getting way too complicated at this point, I think.
Basically, polyamory is a form of non-monogamy, but not all non-monogamy
Very nice.
is polyamory. I know, this is a lot. Bear with me, I just want to avoid any
Yeah, this is exactly what the
misunderstanding.
problem is, that there is lots of understandings. Like, for example, you ask somebody out there, well, what do you think polyamorous means? Like, if I tell you I'm polyamorous, like, you know, I say that to another person, let's say in this example, what do you think I'm talking about? And a lot of them are going to say, well, you just fuck around a lot. You maintain multiple, like, you know, sexual partners for pleasure. That's it. Basically you're slutting around at the end of the day. This is the most common answer that I get. And this is the most common, like, misconception. And what people are mostly afraid of. It gets to the point where somebody might cheat on someone else, and then they might tell them, "Oh, it's because I'm polyamorous." Like, stop using, like, this is very similar to how being trans is being misappropriated and used for sometimes, like, malicious purposes. You know, I don't want to go too much into it because that's not the topic, but, like, yeah, it's the same logic. There, you know, somebody does something that they shouldn't be doing, and they're trying to cover it by saying, oh, but I'm this, but I'm that, and then that damages the image of people who are actually that. Anyway.
Because often when people criticize polyamory, they're often criticizing something else entirely. I've seen people say things like, oh, it's bad and that's why it's illegal.
It's not illegal.
Polyamory isn't
Do
illegal.
people believe it's illegal? What the fuck? Okay.
At least where I live, and likely where you live too, polygamy is a different thing. I could go on for aeons introducing you to a plethora of terminology. Hierarchical polyamory.
That is something I don't vibe with. That is something I don't vibe with. I was partners with someone who was like that, and it feels like, I don't know, it feels like you're like third class citizen in that fucking in that relation. I don't fucking vibe with that. I just can't. I'm allergic to that.
Non-hierarchical polyamory, polyfidelity.
What the fuck is
solo
polyfidelity? Please.
Non-hierarchical.
Yes. What do you mean not doing that? What? Why is the subtitle not doing that? I'm doing that, I think. Because like what I do is I want to be sure, and I always make sure that if I have at the time multiple partners, that they all get an equal slice of the pie, let's say, right? It's a subtitle because it's not hierarchical. Also, hey there, hi. So not doing that. So the previous, I don't get it. It's weird. It's weird. It's like if you see it like I see it right now, the way that I read it right now is like not doing that. Like this is bad. The way that it is like presented here. But if it's not doing the previous, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, I guess I'm that, because I do try to have all my partners, on equal ground, but not on the same ground. I don't want to overlap, but that is like going too far into it right now. I want them on equal grounds, but not in the same grounds. And I can't do hierarchical polyamory. It is, to me, it's like, honestly, just kills me. But yeah. Oh, and interestingly enough, whenever somebody has an issue with me having other partners, it has never been a matter of them actually objectively being neglected at all in any capacity. I'm gonna die on that hill. It is mostly psychological for them. Like the fact that they know that I do have or can have another partner puts them in this constant state of paranoia that they don't have enough time with me, or that I am not fully committed, and it is impossible to prove otherwise, because like no matter what you do, and trust me, I've tried. Trust me, I fucking tried. My partner can confirm this. Where there have been cases where I sidelined them even for months just to prove to the other person that, hey, actually, there is, like, I can allow you to get, to ease yourself into it if you wanted. I never pressured them, but like I was like, hey, let's start it like that. And slowly you'll see that nothing will change. And as, in the beginning I had sidelined my current partner, and then slowly incorporated them, like spend more time, and still that didn't affect my relation to the new partner, let's say, right? But psychologically they were feeling like it was. Whereas provenly, like if you took like the schedules that we had, if you took the time we spent together, it was all spread equally. I was always there when they needed me. I made sure that they never lack anything in terms of like having a partner. But still, no matter what I did, no matter how I do it, how often, if the other person is simply, testing it or trying it out, let's say, to see if they can do it, they always had, unless they were already polyamorous, they always were constantly living in fear of I don't even know what. because they were lacking nothing. It was literally, and I do respect it, obviously. I do respect it, but it was literally the fact that they knew, just the knowledge, that they knew there might be another person, or, because there was in my example, that there was another person, And it is like to further bolster that position, I will say, like to fortify it, I will say that like whenever I would ask them, hey, if I hadn't told you about my other partner, would you even know that they exist? And the answer was always no. No, I would have never known. That's how well I was managing time. And sometimes I fucked up in the sense of like, of my then current partner, I would like take a bit more time away, but that is also kind of something you have to live with. Like if you're polyamorous and you have a partner and then a new partner comes in, either on your end or on the end of your partner, right? If somebody else comes in, it's natural that because they're the new thing, let's say, you kind of like, you check things out, you spend a little bit more time together and all that. You're expected to, well, to expect this, but then it kind of mellows and then it normalizes. But on either end, it's probably going to be like that. Unless, of course, you introduce your current partner as well to this, like as fast as you're comfortable with. And then in that case, you can just, the three of you or how many ever you want, I guess, can just, spend your time, allocate your time as you want between you, or you can spend it all together, which is something I also experienced in the past. And it's very nice. Like both of these are nice to me. I don't mind them. Anyway.
Hierarchical polyamory. Polyfidelity.
Alright, so polyfidelity, I want to actually see what the fuck that is. One sec.
Polyamory. Non-hierarchical polyamory.
A throuple that's exclusive to each other. Close to what I just described, actually. But no, I think that is like overcomplicating things. So throuple means like 3 instead of like a couple, which is 2. Is that the idea? Maybe, I don't know. But exclusive to, I don't think I would say for myself that I'm 100% Fidelitus? I don't fucking know. I wouldn't say that I'm exclusively this, though. I can be, but I wouldn't say this is like... These are minute details that you just talk about for 1 second and then that's it. Like your partner might ask you, are you going to introduce your other partner in this? And you can say, like, would you want me to? And they say, like, yes or / no. And then you're like, okay, cool. That's it. I don't think it needs a separate label. It's just things that you kind of discuss with the other person once and then that's it. Kind of works.
Fidelity. Solo polyamory.
What the fuck is solo polyamory? What the fuck is this? Like, what the fuck? Poly but autonomous? Like, how am I not autonomous? Wait a moment. How am I not autonomous by default? Like, explain this to me. Like, of all the weird things that we just saw, what the fuck is solo polyamory? So you have like a harem that like craves after you, but you're essentially with no one, but you're also feeling for them, but you're not with anyone. That's how I understand it, and it sounds stupid. Like, so you just stop yourself, even though you are feeling stuff, multiple partners, you're stopping yourself from feeling these things so that you can maintain your autonomy as their, as like part of that partnership, let's say. But why would you be like, but to be polyamorous, like the word amor is there. So you are feeling things. So what do you mean isn't your lifestyle autonomous even when you have someone? What? Okay, you know what? Comet partner. What is that fucking sugarcoating? That's just a fuck buddy, bro. Comet partner? If somebody tells me they are solo polyamorous, I'm gonna fucking slap them. And if they tell me there's they want to be my comet partner, I will be like, why? You know what? You should be a fucking comedy partner instead. Just say more jokes, and then we can have like a comedy show like this. I don't know what to tell you. What the fuck is a comet partner? Because the description is literally just friends with benefits, or like not even friends, acquaintances with benefits, or fuck buddies, I guess. What the fuck is a comet partner?
Metamorph.
What? Your partner's other partner whom you are not dating. Why does that need... Like, they don't concern you at that point. Why do you need a name for them? You can just say... nobody's gonna understand you if you say, hey, my partner's metamor. Like, what? Fucking... You're fucking Maximal. You're fucking Decepticon. Your partner's Decepticon. Like, at this point, just throw in words there. Like, it doesn't matter at this point. Why can't you say, like, my girlfriend's girlfriend? Like, that, it's kind of cuter even. Like, my boyfriend's metamor. Okay.
Polysaturated.
When you've reached maximum capacity... I have to become polysaturated. Hey, Neris, I want to become... Neris, I need to become a Guild Wars 2 infusion. A polysaturated, reverberating, grey infusion. What the fuck? So it would be correct to say... Because right now she's just throwing words which have nothing to do with a subject. They are adjacent. It's like a vocabulary lesson. It's not like... It's off point. It's off point. She's just saying words right now. So I think I polysaturate at around 2 to 3 partners total. I think that's when I polysaturate. Okay. Okay.
Relationship anarchy.
What? The application of what are you talking about? This is crazy. This is fucking insane. You know what? I'm just glad I'm a little person, honestly. I'm just glad I'm simple in these things. Relationship anarchy, the application of anarchist principles to so like you just want to like cheat then, like what do you want then? Because you're not polyamorous, not anything, but you are pro relationship anarchy. So okay, compersion. The positive feeling of joy one experiences when their partner is with someone else. What? Wait, that fucking lagged me. So okay, I'm gonna take it seriously and comment on that. Okay, all right. You don't necessarily. You're not okay. You're gonna be a little bit jealous, and everyone is gonna be a little bit jealous of everyone. That is normal. That is healthy, actually, and it also keeps you on your toes a little bit, you know, in many regards. But you wouldn't pay too much attention to it because, you know, ideally you've already established trust between at least you and the partner. So, you know, between you there is a trust, therefore it's fine. But positive feeling of joy to the point of being the opposite of jealousy, specifically when you know your partner is with someone else, that sounds like not good. That sounds not good. That sounds like some kind of gateway into cucking or something. To me, this sounds like a gateway to cucking. You know, just to, you know, getting it all by watching somebody else fucking your girlfriend or something. I don't know. Like, to me, just in a vacuum, I would be, yeah, I guess I would be like, if my partner came to me and said, hey, this is like, I don't know, Bob or something, or like Mary, and yeah, we're kind of like building up or something, I don't know how they would say to me, we're spending a bit of time or something. I don't know the wording exactly, but if my partner did that, I would be like, oh yeah, sure, that's cool, all right, you know. I would probably inquire a bit about it because I would like to know, because to me it's important that there is at least a level of approval between partners. Not necessarily fully, but like at least a level. If I see my partner being partners with somebody who, for example, abuses them emotionally and I catch it, I'm not gonna let it continue. I'm gonna be, hey, I'm not okay with like you being with that person. But that's more like a friends thing. Like if I saw my friend in such a, I would tell them like, hey, this thing is fucking you up. I'm not okay with that. You know. So I don't know, but if it was like something happy, positive, I would be like, oh yeah, cool, and that's it. I wouldn't even think about it again. If it included me at one point, I would think about it. I would say, hey, that's cool, that's very nice, or whatever. But like specifically what is described here sounds to me like some kind of gateway into fetishizing, cacking or something. Which, wow, nah, thanks. I don't know. This sounds like sass.
Kitchen
Wow.
table
Each table, what? What? A style in which everybody in a polyamorous network. Dude, do I need to study like fucking IT for this at this point? Wow, okay. Primary partners, tertiary metamorphs. Metamorphs is what I'm trying not to say every time. Metamorph. Which is like, for example, what Mystique is. The X-Men character. Anyway, the Marvel character. Is encouraged to form close and friendly relationships with one another. Without necessarily being romantic? No, I wouldn't do that. Where they can all sit down and have dinner without it being weird. Why would you assume it's gonna be weird? I mean, of course it's gonna be if you just immediately introduce like, oh, hey, you wanna go out? Yeah, sure, I wanna go out. Okay, let's have dinner. Okay, there's gonna be some people there. Okay, cool. And you go there, it's like, hey, this is my partner, and that other guy is also my partner. Meet each other. Like, you wouldn't do it like that to begin with. That is like stupid. You don't do that. You communicate. You fucking communicate. You don't need all this fucking shit. You just communicate. What is all this shit? Would you like? I'm gonna go have dinner with Mary, who is my other partner. Is what I would tell to my partner, and then I would say, would you like to, if you want, you can join us. They're cool. They're cool with that. If you want to join us, you can. We're cool. Like that is all it takes. Like, what is this fucking kitchen table polyamor? Like, dude, I'm relaxing with Mary, who's like that person I told you about that I met and I'm interested in. Do you want to join? You want to like come and chill and like have popcorn and watch a movie or something? That's how normal people do it. They don't go around telling other people, hey, my kitchen table polyamorous network of primary, tertiary, and metamorph partners welcome you to today's dinner. Like, what? Nah, okay.
polyamory.
I'm not overstimulated. I'm just feeling like people are dumb.
There's a lot, okay? But if
There's
you're
not a lot.
polyamorous
There's
and you're
redundancies, is what it is.
watching this, you probably know all of this already. And if you're not, and you're watching this, you might be starting to get
Not
a little
lost.
bit lost.
I'm just flabbergasted. It's like, what? Why do you need all this? I'm just curious. I have questions. That's all. I have a lot of questions right now. I'm not lost at all. I understand everything, but
I don't think you actually need to know the minutiae. This video isn't running defense for polyamory as a practice. That's actually not the point. I want to explore why a lot of people online and in real life seem to hate polyamorous people. The people. I make this
This cow creeps
distinction.
me out. I'm not gonna fucking lie. This cow creeps me out. Sorry.
Of non-monogamous individuals. You know, there are people who practice non-monogamy unethically. Unethical non-monogamy.
I am polyamorous myself, but yeah, there's a lot of unethical
What the fuck is
polyamory.
unethical
And
polyamory? Did you? Do you mean cheating? Because you can be poly and you can cheat. Sadly, I've been on the receiving end. Is that what they call unethical polyamory? Like, why does it have to be labeled? This is fucking cheating.
And this particular subsect I like to call Pokemon trainers, because there are people that make spreadsheets, and that's because that's what's best for their brain. But when you are making a spreadsheet because you have to, because without it, you cannot keep track of all of your
If
parts.
you need a spreadsheet for your partners, you need help. You need help. If you need a spreadsheet to keep track of your partners, you're gone. You're gone at that point. You have beat. You haven't just like saying that you have beat more than you can chew would be an understatement, a severe understatement. Like, who even? I mean, I understand it if you're like super new to this, and you have like difficulty in saying no, and you're also very popular. So, and people also don't mind you being polyamorous, and then you end up with like 5 partners, whereas in reality, you kinda like you cap at like 2, for example. But because of the circumstances, let's say, right, you have accepted more commitments like that. At one point or other, like very soon, or sooner rather than later, you're gonna be like, okay, I gotta trim. I gotta trim a little. Some people are gonna get cut off. I just, I'm losing my fucking mind. If at that junction in time, you select instead to just form a spreadsheet, you are you are dumb. You're dumb as fuck.
Partners, that's a problem in my mind. Like, if you are referring to people and your partners
Psychotic
as resources,
almost. That's fucking psychotic at that point.
that's a huge problem.
Like, your
Huge red
problem at
flag
that
for me.
point isn't being polyamorous. Your problem at that point is that you have like underlying mental issues.
It shows me that you want to be popular over caring for your partners.
It's okay to talk about your bad experiences where you felt coerced or where you were dating someone and they didn't disclose it. You're allowed to talk about these experiences and criticize people's behavior.
Coerced monogamy. Have I ever come close to experiencing this? Not really. This is apparently, hi Ragzen. Apparently, this is a piece on why people hate polyamorous people. So why they hate polyamory? You would never date a poly person; they betray people. I'm a poly person. I've never betrayed a single person in my whole fucking life, and I dare anyone to come and say the opposite. I dare fucking anyone to come and say the opposite. I'm sorry, I'm dying on that hill. I am dying on that hill. 100%, 1000%. Being poly is not what you think, apparently. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a poly person hurt you, but... Yeah, but it's not true, though. And mind you, I don't speak about everyone, and especially, I don't speak about people who, will misappropriate the concept to justify malicious acts, which is the same stance that I have for being trans. If someone is misappropriating intentionally to shield themselves from repercussions of their malicious actions, then I'm against it, obviously. Inform me? Yeah, I can inform you. Polyamory for me, which is what I said in the beginning of the video as well, and it's what the narrator said as well, is essentially the ability to feel the same feelings for more than one person, to harbor love for more than one person. That is all it is, basically. From there, you can just, apparently from what I found out, you can just add your own spin on it. But in its core, it is that. That's it, basically. There was a very good explanation in the beginning of the video from someone who is polyamorous, and they put it like very nicely. They kind of like said something in the lines of, some people have a glass, right? If we assume it's a glass, for some people it's a short glass. It feels like completely with one person. Some people have a taller glass, and there is more water missing there. That's it. That's a nice little thing to say, let's say. But no, for me, it's always going to be the ability, that's how I experience it at least, the ability to feel the same. You have the capacity to feel the same emotion for more than one person with the same intensity. And I think that's where the video is going as well, which I'm pretty sure that she's gonna say that the reason why polyamorous gets hated so much is because it has been misappropriated by individuals that actually have just actually basically just want to cheat, essentially. They just want like a get out of jail free card so they can cheat on people. That's my opinion of why polyamory gets blasted so hard. Anyway, let me go on here.
And hold them accountable. I will say it's important to remember that in every philosophy, there are people who practice it imperfectly, feminism, veganism. So tarring the whole group with a negative brush is not fair, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to introduce you to one more term: consensual
What the fuck is
non-monogamy.
that? So what the fuck is consent? Isn't it the same? Okay, wait a minute. The arrangement where people have multiple consensual Okay, so but this implies that the rest isn't consensual, though. Why would it not be what? Okay, never mind. This what? But isn't consensual non-monogamy just polyamory? Like any arrangement where people have multiple consensual, romantic, or sexual, or both, or intimate connections. That is what? Why do you need a separate term? All of the other ones can be consensual. If they're not consensual, then we're talking they're illegal because you're forcing it. So you're abusing someone, either physically or mentally or both. What? Yeah, of course. The term flinging is becoming ridiculous. Yes, it is. It's like this shit isn't that complicated. I swear, this is not like all this shit is. It's not that complicated, dude. It's not that complicated.
I.e., any arrangement
No,
where people
skip.
have multiple Why would anyone take issue with what consenting adults do in their own relationships and bedrooms, you might ask? Great question. It's almost like I wrote it. Well, their issue appears to be that, allegedly, they're ugly.
Wait a minute. What? The audio being out of sync with the video is weird. Wait, what? Wait, it's out of sync? Really? I don't know if it's the video. How would I know? I don't know how I would know. How can I check? Maybe another video or something? Wait, let me observe that.
Like I wrote
No, for
it.
me it's perfect. So there is audio desync then, because for me it's like normal. It's the stream. Okay, well, let me do something real quick. Let me try something real quick. Which will mean this is gonna become a little bit more complicated. A weird stylistic choice? No, 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 no. For me, like on my end, if you go and open this video yourself, you will see that she's talking, in tune with with her movements or whatever you want to say. So I'm thinking it might be NVIDIA broadcast just being a bitch again. It might be that. Let me see something. What do you have for me, you stupid thing? Uh, all right, how do I turn it off? How do I turn it off in order to check though? Uh, I'm not sure how the fuck to turn it off. Wait a minute. I'll figure it. Just wait there. Maybe if I just go here and then properties and then use instead this. So, I'm gonna mute myself. I want you to tell me if you still notice it, okay? But I'm gonna mute myself because now I'm not using NVIDIA Broadcast, which means you can hear everything in my room. Like this, for example, or this, which you couldn't before. See what I mean? You'll be able to hear me literally breathe. So it's kind of annoying. I'm gonna mute myself and I want you to tell me if that's what it was.
That in every philosophy, there are people who practice it imperfectly, feminism, veganism. So tarring the whole group with a negative brush is not fair, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to introduce you to one more term: consensual non-monogamy.
So was he speaking out of order again? It's still out of sync? What the fuck? I don't want to restart my stream. I just don't want to restart my stream. I would hate to have to do that. God fucking damn it. Why is OBS so fucking weird? Also, let me restore add it. Okay, there we go. Right. Maybe if I just refresh my browser, it's gonna work. What do you think about that? Do you think that's gonna be cool? If I just like pin this, and then just close my browser maybe, and go again. And then if I unpin that.
We're allowed to talk about these experiences.
All right, so what do you think? What do you think about it now? Wait.
Romantic, sexual, and/or intimate relationships. So why would anyone take issue with what consenting adults do in their own relationships and bedrooms?
Is it okay now? Or is the stream completely cooked at this point? which means I would have to restart my stream. Beautiful. Do I want to restart my stream? Do you mind? Like, did you actually mind if she's out of sync? Because mostly it's her words we want. It's not necessarily herself. What do you think? If it was a game, I would say, okay, I must definitely restart. But it seems to be just, I could try to restart my PC as well. Just my PC. Wait, no, I don't have two PCs anymore. It would kill the stream if I did that. Shit. Come on. Okay, I'll take your input on this one. I'm just gonna accept your input. Do you want me to restart, to stop the stream and restart it? Or is that like not worth it? You don't mind it? Yeah, I don't think I mind it either. I'm not gonna lie. Not when it comes to like just talking, I guess. You could do this video and then restart for the other videos. Sure, I guess I could. Yeah, for now, just roll with it for now, okay? It's not my fault. Like, I don't have any control over this, and I don't know what's causing it, and it's probably OBS, and so I'm fucked basically. So yeah, sure. Let's continue. Ways. Welcome back. We decided to keep the desync because if we don't keep the desync, I need to restart my stream. And we decided that for this video, we're going to keep it desynced, which is fine. But for the next video I want to watch, which is this one, I will restart my stream. That's what we decided. I hope that's okay with you, seeing as you two are communicating with me. Because, yeah, it's basically her words, It's basically sound. Like, even if I did this, right? And we just hear her voice. That's what we want. We don't care about the visuals that much. So I think it's fine doing this. All right. First, BRB though, a couple of minutes. It's going to be real fast. Don't worry. Also, I'm going to play the devil's advocate. I'm going to play defense here. I will say that perhaps what they're referring to when saying consensual might imply that they explicitly, like both partners or how many ever they are, they explicitly have to state that they're going to have a new partner. That's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, it's absolutely stupid. And even that is like such a... I don't know, at least to me, right? To me, at least, it is implied. Like, if you're poly, it is just simply good behavior and common sense to just, if you are interested in another partner, that you would let your current partner know. That is like just good etiquette, right? Why would it have to be? So I don't know. I think that term that she threw at us was... Wow. Okay, but anyway, moving on. Wait, what? Hello? I said moving on? Oh, right.
You might ask. Great question. It's almost like I wrote it. Well, their issue appears to be that, allegedly, they're ugly.
But why are we considered ugly? Like this now going to be a bomb. Wait.
It's the well-known fact that you don't see many incredibly attractive people in polycules.
What is a polycule, first of all? What the fuck is a polycule? First, because I'm poly and I don't know this. I'm going to speculate that polycule might refer to people in a poly relationship. That's what my brain is telling me. Polycule? I don't want to be called that. That sounds like some kind of fucking disease or something. I contracted polio. What? Is it like from the word molecule? Is it really from the word molecule? You're a polycule? Listen, you don't need all that crap. You do not need so many weird words to describe something so conceptually simple. For real. Nor do you need a word for every fucking, standard that you set for yourself in any relationship. You just talk about it with your partner. That's it. Just talk about it for 10 seconds and then you figured it. That's it. You don't need to hit your partner with like, I'm a polyculatic, mono-idealistic, non-consensual, mono-admoramus. Like, bro, relax. Just tell them what you want. Tell them how you roll, how the cookie crumbles. If they want, they will join you. If they don't want, they won't join you, and you will both have a beer and chill. Like, what the fuck? Why talk with each other if you can just give them your Yu-Gi-Oh card with your effect? Oh my god, yes. Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna prepare a card for me too. I'm gonna prepare a card. And by the end of the day, that card will also include like my life expectancy as well, I guess. Just to make sure. So basically my effective health points. What the fuck? I'm a CNM polykill monopoly in the battle phase. I attack directly. Yes, exactly. It is getting ridiculous. Also, you get banished when you're polysaturated. Yeah, of course. Oh my god. I think we had the same problem. I think LGBT had the same problem, where at one point there existed. I don't think if that's still the case, but there existed like something like 80 genders. 80 fucking genders at one point. Which it makes it like as much as you want to think like you to have an open mind, right? With 80 fucking genders, you don't know what's going on anymore. You just do not know anymore what's going on. You just lose your shit. You're like, I lose my shit. I'm the trans person, okay? And I lose my shit when somebody hits me with what are your pronouns so I don't fuck up? Okay, my pronouns are like Threbio and Threbi. And I'm like, what the fuck language? What are you talking? Like, what? Okay, what does that even mean? What does it even mean? I don't fucking know. Is it necessary? I don't know. It's so complicated. It's so complicated at this point. And I think I think we moved away from like having 50,000 genders, and I think it's more common accepted that it's like she, her, he, him, they, them. That's it. I think we kind of like agreed on that acceptance. I guess on all sides. I hope. I don't know because handling 80 genders is like or 77 or however many they were. I don't remember anymore. Is insane, and this is similarly insane. Like on the basis of like just how many words are you gonna fucking mix, and what do they mean after a point? What do they even mean? Because they start backing into themselves. They start like fusing together in strange amalgams that don't actually mean anything. Like semantically, they don't mean anything anymore. Because they also are covered, they overlap with another one, for example. And so this is what's happening here as well, from what I see. We're starting to see terms and words that are redundancies and like honestly just unnecessary because they're already overlapping as fuck. Anyway, sorry, I'll go back to the point. But the point was basically that polyamorous people are not attractive. No. First of all, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I would say. I, for example, find this person very non-attractive, I'm not gonna lie. I assume they're monogamous, so what should I do? I should just go around and say, oh, monogamous people are just not attractive. Like, this is so childish, first of all. Second of all, as I said, it's like subjective. You can't really put a label on that. And third of all, personally, I'm sorry to say, but I have the opposite experience, statistically, just statistically, right? Where, you know, poly people I know are actually quite fucking charming. They're quite attractive and charming. And I'm not even including myself in this, which I can't speak for myself, but, you know, I'm speaking about the other people. So, yeah. I don't fucking know where this comes from. That is absurd.
Challenges made me realize I don't hate polyamory as a concept. Just hate when
Okay,
ugly
that's
people do it.
different. That's different, and it's even more toxic. Because why do you care? And why are you sitting there arbitrarily rating people that are none of your concern? Like, what the fuck are these? These are moronic. These are like fucking 20 IQ statements.
Why do people in open relationships always look like that? I'm being very non-specific here, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I mean, dude, you're not an example of objective beauty yourself, you know. You look like escaped from some kind of fucking hippie rave party. I'm sorry. But all I'm trying to say is like, what?
I have a working theory on this, okay? And it's kind of mean. It's not my idea. Don't shoot the
No,
messenger.
I will
here.
shoot the messenger because the messenger is functioning.
I saw some meme once upon a time that was like, somebody will have an open relationship just so they can date 3 threes and say they're in a relationship with a 9.
What? This shit is so racist. It's so fucking hateful and not bigoted is what it is actually.
Unfortunately, I don't know if that's how the scale, which is nonsense, really works.
So you yourself are saying that the scale is nonsense. So what is your problem? Why are you saying that like people are like by what scale are you saying that people are ugly if they're poly? Like what? You're literally just demolishing your own arguments.
You know, it's not like a cumulative thing. Guys, I just don't know how this shit's happening. It's like the most confusing thing in the world to me. You've rarely seen like an 8, 9, 10 in an open
But now you're using the same thing that you just condemned. Like an arbitrary rating system that is very individual to each person and means nothing to the next person. And is also none of your business. Are these people okay? I mean, this guy is probably on drugs or something. I don't fucking know.
relationship. That's all I'm saying. Why do people in open relationships always look like that? I'm being very non-specific here.
No, because what do you mean by that?
No, I wouldn't say that you can take, okay, so here it is. There is this like trick that you can do, right? Where you find a person with an appearance that you think your echo chamber thinks X type of people look. And then you add meme on it and you go, oh, yeah, that's, you know, like, for example, have you seen the Karen person? Like the meme, have you seen that? With that girl with the glasses just being like frustrated and, you know, expressing, you know, they're grimacing. They're like, you can see that they're frustrated. You know what I'm talking about, right? So if you see the context of that, it has nothing to do with being a Karen or being anything as it's being memed as, you know? If you see the origin of that image, it's crazy how it has nothing to do with anything other. Like, look it up. For real, look it up. Look it up. It's crazy. So when people go on TikTok and say, "Why do polyamorous people look like this?" and they use like the image of this girl, for example, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't look like that. I don't know anyone who looks like that. I don't think it's even relevant. Okay. I mean, I don't see if I saw something wrong with the people that this guy has shown, then by definition I should also see something wrong with the guy showing it, and I would say, oh, this is exactly the type of person who would show this, and say, oh, this is exactly the type of person I think. You get what? It's like fucking Inception. Instead of getting trapped in this, why not just like decouple yourself from bigotry?
Welcome, welcome, it's a freak show, and you get a freak, and you get a freak. To call this discourse would be generous, and bear in mind I regularly use the word discourse as a pejorative, mockingly, because I am a relentless mocker. As I'm sure you suspected, I was cool and popular in school.
Because tonight will be the night that I will fall for you over again.
I was one of those popular kids who would make fun of you for normal human behaviour, like drinking out of a water bottle or reading. Kids are mean. Correction, adults engage in mocking. In case you're employed, there's been discourse for a while now about how polyamorous folks look a certain way. They have a look.
You do? That's the first time I hear about this. We were supposed to have a look. What is the look then?
You know, the look.
Like that. I'm being very non-specific here, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
They look like that.
This TikTok about poly people and the aftermath of it, I think, is a really good case study in how there's such an appetite to dunk on polyamorous people, especially online. He posted the first one, got responses, and then, as I showed you, made a second one where he made a compilation of all the people who responded.
It was right
And
after
as
the LGB vocabulary relation. You also missed. Oh my god.
you could see, a lot of them were gender non-conforming, plus size, and alternative looking. He even included someone who isn't even polyamorous, just non-binary, so they made the cut. You know, he likes to claim that this is all a joke, but if you look at the comments he's liked comments implying that polyamorous people are weak.
This is a word salad that means nothing. My working theory is that lacking in substance and strength manifest in many aspects of life, but most so in the department. This is like my working theory is that according to what I said, I think that some lackings in some departments create a certain decrease in a numerical value in that department, I think, for some people. Like that. My working theory is that these words I'm using now are going to make your brain confused, and that's why I'm going to use them to prove something that is not in need of proving because it's not even a theory, but in my head it is, and with these words I fucking calcify it in your brain. And now whatever that theory is, you're going to think about it. Great, good job. Good job there. Nice word salad. I bet you were like very strong in like 400 word essays.
Weak, and obviously has an issue with it.
Open relationship, people want the comfort of a relationship without the effort. I think you're confusing things, buddy. I think you're confusing things because the effort I have to put in to be polyamorous is easily, mathematically, double the effort you would put in a single relationship because I'm dealing with two people or three. And so if I'm actively trying to make them feel as they should as part of a relationship, trust me, I'm pulling for two or three or how many ever you have. Okay, so this statement applies to fuck buddies, perhaps. Maybe.
Now, we could debate about how much responsibility he bears in all this. I think some irresponsible platforming has occurred. There were people who got harassed as a result of this.
People in open relationships always look like that. I'm being...
No, because what do you mean by that? Honest.
I don't think... I'm not gonna go into the aesthetics because I disagree with these aesthetics, but that is like on the grounds of aesthetics. And the person has any right to be the way they want. I don't care. But I've never seen a poly person necessarily even remote close to, like, what, the shaved head and the dyed hair. I mean, I don't fucking know. For all you know, this person could be polyamorous as well. Like, you can, there is no look. There is no look, honestly. Like, what is this? Wow.
What do you mean by that? Now,
He was liking unkind comments about the people in the video, even though it was just a joke. You know, people commenting saying, oh, where's their profile? I want to find them. The person who got most targeted even made a follow-up video, and he commented saying, oh, sorry, it's just jokes. And they sort of responded saying, you know, and they were saying, I get that, but like the result of it has been harmful, and, you know, autistic and non-binary people have been targeted. And I'm sure him and the people who have enjoyed this will say, you know, it's not that deep. But I think this really demonstrates the contempt people have for polyamorous people, especially because the most vocal people online are queer-coded. A lot of queer people practice...
I'm not hating, it's true. No, it's not. It isn't, though. Like, no. In fact, you know what's very funny? As you may have known from before, like, because I've mentioned that, I was a club owner for a while, and I have been clubbing in my life for a very long time, okay? And I have met, I don't know, thousands of people, okay? Definitely in the upper end of hundreds, for real. The people who looked the wildest, like the wildest, right, were the most vanilla and tame people I've ever met. You would see this, you would see people that if you saw them on TikTok today, for example, you would be, oh my god, goth mommy, whatever you fucking gooners say these days, alright? And you would be like amazed by her thigh highs and like her choker and her makeup and the wild piercings and everything. I've talked to people like that. Usually, they're very vanilla, trust me, even in sex. First-hand experience. Usually, men and women and anything in between. It's kind of funny, and it's ironic in this instance because it seems to have been, like, literally the phrase, don't judge a book by its cover and don't assume things. These two sentences need to become your Bible in life. No joke. These sentences need to become your fucking Bible. You have to go by these two things. You know, that's just how it is.
Non-binary people, neurodivergent people. He can claim all he likes that this is just a joke, and, you know, the people who have been upset by this and have received harassment as...
Just be unoffendable? What the fuck do you mean, just be unoffendable? Is this like some kind of like 40k quote? Is this Warhammer? Be like the heroes of yore, bulletproof and free of fear, while I'm just gonna fucking barrage you with my stupid content that is like completely factually wrong and make fun of you? No, just instead of asking me to be unoffendable, how about you stop fucking being offensive? Which goes double because, honestly, low effort as well.
As a result, need to just laugh it off. And even if you could...
I don't want to have to laugh off aggressiveness and toxicity. Maybe the people who are toxic need to not be toxic instead. Have you ever thought of that? Because like that's a very simple thing, you know? Don't be offended. No, don't offend me then. Like, it's easy.
To the first video where you're like, oh, it's just a, you know, a joke that's probably a bit too mean for your taste. I think this next video just completely lays bare what he thinks about the people he's joking about.
I made a lot of people in open relationships mad yesterday, didn't I? A lot of polyamorous people, a lot of non-binary folks, kind of getting equally offended. But there's
What
an
does
interesting
non-binary have to do with that? You can be non-binary. You can be like monogamous as fuck. They don't like what? Okay, this is so fucking weird.
to that. See, some of these people didn't give a shit. Some of them were laughing about it. A lot of them were DMing me and laughing about it. Well, why? Why would they laugh at themselves? Because they don't identify or think that they are part of the group that look like that. They're the ones
What?
that aren't getting offended by this because they hear the joke and they go, ha, that's funny, that's not me. And a lot of them it's not, because here's the really important part to this. The ones who don't look like that, the ones who look normal, so to speak, they don't advertise this stuff. Why don't they
Nobody
advertise
advertises anything. You like what? Okay.
Because as many of them told me, if you advertise that you are open, poly, non-monogamous, whatever, then people who look like that start hitting you up incessantly.
I don't think so. I don't. These like the things that this guy is saying are alien to me in concept, like absolutely fucking alien to me. I'm openly polyamorous. I don't advertise it, but like if somebody asks me, I feel, if somebody's interested in me, I feel it's something that has to be mentioned. They have to know, right? What they're getting into. Is that what he means with advertising it? But if you don't do that, then you're going to be cheating, essentially. And you're going to be lying, But then whenever I've done that, I didn't see any throng of people like lasting after me. What kind of reality is he using? Like, is he logging onto some like beta version of life where things are glitching for him?
Oh, so it's fine as long as if you don't look like that. Whereas if you do actually look like that, then it's fair game. Gotcha. And listen, you know me. I like jokes. I like a goof. I like a gaff. So if you've been around since the days where I looked like Jim Carrey from Dumb
Okay, fair enough. Fair fucking enough. Fair enough. Yeah, okay.
and Dumber, when I first heard that joke of, oh, polyamorous people have a certain look, like, in jest, I did sort of exhale through my nostrils. Because, septum piercings.
Sir, will you please stop staring at me?
Where's the rest of you?
Vegans have a look. We can all have a jolly about that. If you can chuckle and move on without forming contempt for polyamorous people in the world, great. But people are taking this too far. There's light-hearted jokes, and then there's, how is every poly person ugly? Every poly person I see on TikTok looks like they smell like the water left in the pot after you boil hot dogs.
The funniest part about media portraying polyamory is they always try to use attractive people instead of the moist, foul-smelling, flesh beasts of size from Portland. Polyamory is almost exclusively practiced by.
What I'm about to say might seem pretty obvious, but isn't this just old-fashioned bullying?
Yeah, it is, basically. And it's also false generalization as well. Because I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there aren't people who fit the stereotype. I'm not going to say the archetype. I'm going to say the stereotype, okay? I'm going to be true. I'm going to be honest with you. There are people who do look like the stereotypes they have put themselves under. I'm not going to discuss why or like how they don't realize that they're becoming caricatures. It happens not just to people who are non-binary, not just to people who are like, I guess, poly, if you want to say that poly has a look, which it really, really fucking doesn't. That's the first time I've ever heard this. But let's assume that it does. Even so, there would be some people who, for some reason, do look like a caricature of that. And there's nothing you can do about it because like that's also like true for everyone. You can go right now walk into a fucking, hardware store, right? PC hardware store, so computer parts, whatever, and it's not unlikely that you will see somebody who fits your idea of who would work in a place like that in terms of appearance. This is something that just happens. It's not specific to gender. It's not specific to sexuality. It's not specific to anything. It's just some people are literally fitting perfectly not even the archetype, but the stereotype. It happens. I'll give you that, but and yeah, you can, as the lady says here, you can have a laugh about it because sometimes, it's kind of amusing that the person is fitting the description completely, and you're like, yeah, that's the typical nerd, or it's the typical whatever, it's the typical IT person, it's the typical teacher person, it's the typical whatever person. It doesn't matter. You can say that for any kind or any type of person. And you can have a laugh, I guess, exactly because it just happens to be that, right? And it's like you're watching a cliche out of a movie, and that can be amusing, but turning it into actual bullying and then false generalizing is oof, such an L take. Come on, dude. And even people who do look like that for whatever reason, whatever that is, because again, it's not you can even say that for the typical straight male, for example, the typical white straight male, for example. You can even say that for that. There are some people who just fit that description like a glove. They have I'm not gonna go into it, but you get it, right? You can say it about everyone and everything, every situation, every background, every field of work, every department, everything. It's not specific to anything. And yeah, you can have a laugh, but maybe these people also are great people most of the time. They're just, maybe they also love what they do and they want to show it, to express it through their looks, for example. And sometimes it fucking happens without them even noticing. And if you tell them, they just don't mind, In other words, they're kind of cool with it. They kind of roll with it, whatever. Why is this so fucking groundbreaking for some people? I don't understand.
Actually, on second thought, I've realised that I probably am just being too sensitive. I actually think it's really funny when random strangers come up to me online and say that I stink of poo-poo and steaming horse piss and more poo-poo with some hot dogs. That's actually really funny. Anyone would find that really funny.
There's something so incredibly normie about hating on someone for being ugly. It's basic. Homo sapiens are so evolved in so many ways. We've invented vaccines, the iPhone, we've stepped on the moon. But we still can't get over our instinctive disgust reaction when we see someone that we wouldn't want to reproduce with. What's that about? There are many video essays on discrimination against ugly people and pretty privilege.
I just want to majorly stress the air quotes on the use of the word ugly in this video.
People who are uniquely beautiful, who are not traditionally pretty, who then decide to go outside of the realm of normal and do a unique hair color, unique makeup, and fashion that may not be normalized, will always, always bring out the absolute scum of the earth. People who are 100% trash will drag themselves out of the gutters. They will come out from underneath the rocks that they are living under and leave the most heinous comments. And for what? To hurt a stranger's feelings who are just trying to get their hair done? What did you get from this? You don't have any superpowers. It doesn't make you any better. If anything, it makes you worse. So what is the point of these comments? Please tell me. To top that off, most of these people are full-grown adults, and you guys should be so ashamed of yourselves. I'm embarrassed for you. This isn't even second or third hand embarrassment. This is fourth and fifth hand embarrassment.
If I were to say, you don't hate polyamorous people, you just hate ugly people, that wouldn't capture the whole truth. And I can't help but notice that the poly people who are being called ugly are visibly queer.
A lot of non-binary folks kind of getting equally offended.
The political opposition
There is no right or wrong way to
Okay.
look gay, but there are signals you can send to send the gays your way.
Now, with that in mind, I think when people are mocking poly people for having that look, it isn't simply a personal disdain for ugliness. It's a political position, video essayist core. Because looking like that represents a political position that you don't agree with. A way of life that you...
Okay. Why is polyamory being mixed with LGBT right now? Like, why is it mixed with that? Like, what is going on? Do you know that out of 10 people that I've dated, let's say, like the statistics for me, for example, and I've dated a lot, I'm including now real life and like and MMO parasocial dating. Most LGBT, oriented individuals that I've dated have been monogamous, actually. Make what you will of that, honestly. It is only very recently, and for context, I'm 43, and it's very recently that, I noticed that I'm dating people who are okay with polyamorous partners. So make what you will of that statistic, but I don't think, like, what I'm trying to say is that I haven't seen any correlation between LGBT and polyamorous. I don't think there's anything there. That is like a nothing burger. So I'm not quite sure why we're being shown from both sides. Like the side that is mocking, we see non-binary people. And the side now that is like pro also shows us like the flag and everything. Like, no, polyamory is like completely irrelevant with that.
You don't agree with. A definition of conservatism: commitment to traditional values and ideas
That was a small parenthesis, by the way.
with opposition to change or innovation. That goes hard. 8 or 9 years ago, when a fella saw someone online with blue hair and a septum piercing, they would call them an SJW, social justice warrior. This isn't that different. Being polyamorous doesn't necessitate being liberal or left-wing, but there is a trend, there's a correlation.
No, there isn't.
For some queer polyamorous folks, their queerness and their polyamory are intertwined.
Are we talking about people who are trying to check boxes or something because they want to do something on TikTok and they want to represent something on there? Are we talking that kind of demographic? Because that kind of demographic should be ignored. Or are we talking actual real people, who just are themselves, and they don't have any agenda, and they're not trying to promote or to reach out to certain audiences or anything? Because these normal people, they can be fucking anything as well. Like, and there is no correlation. They can be like monogamous and like, queer as fuck. They can be polyamorous, but also super straight. Like, how is this? And they might be conservative, but they might also be whatever else you want. Like, there is, I think the only sphere in which there are relations like this, like to be made, like correlations to be made, are like this sphere is probably the TikTok sphere. I don't know. This is what it stinks to me like.
Social psychologist Dr. Rhonda Balzarini carried out a study along with her colleagues at the University of Western Ontario, studying the demographic backgrounds of 2,428 polyamorous individuals and 539 monogamous ones by asking participants to take an online survey. Her team found that polyamorous people tend to identify more as bisexual/pansexual, are more likely to report being divorced, and make less money yearly than monogamous couples.
That is so weird to me. That is so weird to me. Okay. No, I have a lot of real examples of, not a lot, but statistically in my circles, the people that I knew for sure were poly, because of their backgrounds or whatever, they were actually well put. Okay, they were well made, let's say. with money. So that one I haven't experienced. So maybe it's different for the area that they described, like in Canada. I don't fucking know. For being at the same time, let me see all the things that said.
People tend to identify more as bisexual.
Yes, I will say I have seen this. The problem with that is that it's usually like this. A person might already have an established relationship, and they realize, for example, that, well, I'm with a female partner. I would also like to experience, being with a male partner, but or anything else. Just an example. But I don't want to lose my other relationship, so yeah, I will be polyamorous. I guess I want to engage in polyamory. So it kind of, I can see that scenario. I've seen this scenario before, but beyond that, I can't say I've observed like anything concrete about it, like in actual real life, not statistics or whatever, but like in my circles, let's say, and keep in mind my circles have been very, very fucking wide in the past, like very wide. So yeah, I don't know. What else are okay?
Pansexual are more likely to report being divorced.
That I have no fucking idea about. Divorce, no. In fact, I have. Well, okay, so in fact, I have been in the past. In a poly relationship, not quite relationship because it didn't bloom, right? But the couple was married or engaged at least, and they were living happily together, and they were relatively young, in their 30s something, and I was like in my 20 something, and yeah, they weren't divorced, and they were very definitely poly, because what started as like uh, nights chilling together, the three of us just watching a movie or playing a game or something, or watching the guy playing a game. I don't remember his name. I think it was John. I definitely don't remember the girl's name. But there we were at one point after like hanging out for like a few times, and like kind of low key flirting, kind of looking a little bit at each other, and all that. There we were watching Die Hard. It was Christmas, so of course Greek TV had Die Hard playing. And 10 minutes in the movie, the guy's cock was in the girl's mouth, and he was touching my thighs, not in a bad way, and not non-consensual. They weren't trying to force it or anything, but it was going down, right? And he made it quite clear that I should be helping the girl with his cock. And at the time, I wasn't into it. I was still exploring my monogamous options, let's say, okay, my exclusivity options. So when it happened, it wasn't that it was a guy and a girl or anything. I didn't mind any of the sexuality or the genders. It was just that I didn't want it to go that far with polyamory, because I was like, no, this is like bad or something, But yeah, it would be many years after that, and many exclusive relationships after that, real life ones, specifically this time, where I just decided at one point, hey, it just clicked. It was like, no, can't do it. There is something wrong with me. Like, for real, there is something is different. What is different? I don't want to be with just one partner. Like it is not worth the commitment. It is not worth the effort, you know. And then after that, I mellowed out a bit, and I was like, it is actually worth the commitment, and it is worth the effort. But also, I don't think one person is enough for me. And so, yeah, that's how kinda like roughly how it happened. But what I was trying to say initially was no, I usually, more often than not, and I mean there have been other incidents as well. There was this other night at the club where I hadn't gone before, but like a friend of mine was DJing, and you know he was like, "Hey, come over. It's gonna be like lots of people, whatever. Um, let's not go to our usual goth hangout. Let's do that one club that I'll be DJing in this night." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so in that, you know, during that night, I was approached like by a lady, uh, who, you know, very kindly let me know that her boyfriend was there as well, but that he doesn't mind what she does. And you know, I did express my doubt for that, and that's when she literally just fucking French kissed me like right there and then. So and these two, they didn't have any like issues. They were literally planning to get married as well. So I don't fucking know, and I'm pretty sure the guy wasn't mad. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know, dude, what to say.
And make less money yearly than monogamous couples. Only slightly more people who were in poly relationships reported having a bachelor's degree or higher and identified as Democrat. When it came to
Is
political
Democrat something you can identify as? Isn't identify as reserved for gender? That is news to me. Identify as a Democrat? I don't think you can identify as one. You can be a Democrat, but identifying as a Democrat, so you're not a Democrat, but you are identifying as an individual that is like I don't get what? I'm confused. What? You is this even grammatical? Is this like even correct English? Identify as a Democrat? Weird. I'm gonna look it up. I may be wrong. Maybe that's the correct usage of the word. Use of the word. I don't know. But identify as a Democrat sounds weird to say.
affiliation, polyamorous folks often chose other, writing in anarchist, progressive, democratic socialist, and none. There were no major differences between groups when it came to ethnicity, except that respondents in poly relationships were significantly more likely to identify as multi-ethnic and native. It isn't a shock that conservatives
You don't identify as multi-ethnic or native. You are born native. You can't identify as native. I can't identify as American because I'm not American. You know, it's not a feeling. It's not you. What? It's not. Can you identify as a Greek? What would that entail? What what does it mean? It's something that you are born as, isn't it? Right? Like that's where you were born. It doesn't really say anything about it. It's just the location you were born at. That yeah. How would you identify as somebody born in a certain location? Like how would you do that? Because feeling feminine enough to identify as a female, I can understand that, but location based, like how? Like, it just means you were born in Greece. It doesn't mean anything. So yeah, you're Greek, but it's not some. I don't know. Maybe this is like some kind of like language gap there, or cultural misunderstanding here that's going on, but I can't make sense of this sentence. I can, like, identifying as she, her, that makes sense in my brain. But identify as a Democrat doesn't make, like, I mean, those are your political leanings, right? Why would you need, you don't, it has nothing to do with identity. It's like you lean towards that politically. That's it. So how, it's not something you identify with or as. You can't do that because it's like just politics, right? Isn't it? And kind of the same with like where you were born. So if I was born in Greece, like can someone say I identify as someone who was born in, but like what is there to identify with? There, that's my problem. Like what is it that, what are the key identifiers of having been born in Greece, for example? I'm confused. I don't know. Identify as native? I don't think so. I don't know. This is confusing to me. Interesting.
Operatives are less likely to outwardly identify as polyamorous.
So what? So you wait a minute. So wait a minute. This is weird. So you can. So according to this, you could identify as a black person, even though you're not a black person, or as a white person, even though you may not be a white person. Like that doesn't make much sense, though. That goes beyond the scope of like how you feel and express yourself. This goes, into very arbitrary like territory, like maybe even irrelevant a little bit with the word identify. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that like I would be very curious if somebody identified as a Greek when they're not Greek. I would very much ask them like, what do you think you're saying when you're saying that? Like, well, what do you think would make you Greek? Because it's so fucking arbitrary and obscure. Because, for example, for a Greek person, as much as I joke about it, right? Because I joke a lot about it. For a Greek person, I don't really behave, or I'm not really like a Greek person as I see other Greek people. Your stereotypical Greek person. Like I don't really have anything in common with that. But I would say, if you ask me, I would say, yeah, I'm Greek. I was born here. That's my mother language. And yeah, my family are Greek, and yeah, I'm Greek, in other words, so yeah, but it's not like something important. It's not something that I would care enough to say I identify as that. Like, I don't care if somebody calls me Greek or any other thing. I don't really mind it, I guess. I don't pay attention. Oh, it's weird. I don't really pay attention to it. It's like something that just happens to be the case. That's it. Nor have I ever known anyone who expressly felt the need to identify or to let me know that they identify as something like being from a certain country or a certain race or I don't know. This is so weird. And the same for politics. Like, I've never met anyone telling me that they identify as a Christian or that they identify as a, I don't know, Democrat or anything else. Just an example. Usually what people will tell you is that, basically they won't even tell you anything. You're just gonna like deduce it by a discussion. Usually, if it goes to politics and and you notice that they have certain views, you can say, oh yeah, these views are again, as an example, these are democratic views. All right, this person is probably mostly pro democracy or whatever. It's not something that it's the same also with gender to a degree, because it's not something that you will go around and say, hey, I'm she, her, but like without context, right? If there is context, or if some correction needs to be made or whatever, yeah, you can bring it up, sure, okay. But for example, you wouldn't bring up like, I don't know. I don't know. It blew my mind that people are using identify us with something political or location based. That blew my fucking mind, because the concept of identifying as something else obviously is not new to me, but this one seems redundant. This one seems like, why would you need to do that? Because it doesn't really mean anything. I mean, your political views are your political views. Why do you need to identify as those political views? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Maybe it's a language thing. Only maybe it's a language plus cultural thing. I don't know, and that's why I'm not getting it. But whatever.
They may, do some non-monogamy, they may swing in secret, but embracing polyamorous as a label is a different thing. Oh, as a side note, I had to share this because it was so interesting.
You can't even identify as polyamorous, like in my head, because it's not. You are that. Like you are. This is what you are. It's not something that, like, that's the same with gender. You just feel that, all right? You feel that. Those are your pronouns. You never say, hello, Jim, I identify as female. You don't do that. You just say, hey, would you mind using she, her? Because, like, that's how I feel, right? But you don't really just go through the trouble of explaining too much. I don't know, to the point of having to say the whole sentence, I guess. Maybe that's what bamboozles me, the wording, perhaps. I don't know. Usually a person will, where are you from? Greece. But I've never answered with, like, I've never had to answer a question with the words, I identify as Greek. I have had to say in the past, in a discussion about this shit, that, yeah, I, for example, identify as female. But that was like, there was context for that, right? But I would even if there was context, I'd never be able to say, like, grammatically, I wouldn't be able to say I identify as Greek. I would say I'm Greek, or I was born in Greece, or something like that. But identify as Greek, identify as Democrat, I just can't. My brain just isn't wired that way. I don't know. Maybe to some people it's the same as gender, I guess, and so they just use the same word. I don't know. I give up.
Research, I found that there is a peculiar exception to this general rule. Loving More is a non-profit founded in 1984 with the purpose of advocating for polyamorous people. Its purpose is described as follows: to educate people about and support polyamory as a valid choice in loving relationships and family lifestyle.
I don't think that being polyamorous needs that much clout, because it's not something that you would need clout for, because it's very personal to you, and it doesn't really affect anything. As in, how to put this? Okay, I'll give you an example. If I saw, right, as a polyamorous person, right, if I saw public toilets, and you see, like, you see, like, the girl sign, you see the boy sign, you see any other sign, and along those signs you also see a sign for polyamorous people, I'm gonna puke. I'm gonna literally puke. But it doesn't have anything to do with that. Like, it's not something that you can support. It's not something that you can. I mean, what do you mean educate about? There's nothing to educate for. It's just somebody can ask you, how do you? Let's say a hypothetical example here. Okay, somebody approaches me. They're interested in me. We chill, and then they express that interest, and flirt, and then it goes a little bit further. and they might ask me if I'm seeing someone. I might say, for example, I am with a partner, yes. And if I'm also interested in them and I notice them in this example kind of like shying away because of that, I would probably, either directly say or clearly hint at me being fine with having another partner. And that's like the most that I've ever had to do. And maybe then the other person, if they're new to it, they've never been introduced to that perhaps, or they haven't a clue what it is. They might say, for example, could you elaborate a little bit? At which point I'll just tell them, hey, all that happens with me is blah blah, like the sentence that I just said in the beginning of the stream, right? That's it. Then they know, and that's the most that you ever will need. There's nothing else to say about it, honestly. And I don't think I've ever seen. I mean, for example, Ragzen earlier, right? Ragzen earlier was like, explain it to me. And I was like, yeah, there it is. Like, here's a sentence. That's it. So why would you need to have, like, a fucking magazine about it? Why would you need to have, why would you need to educate and support polyamory? Like, are polyamorous people, like, suffering or something? Is it like, what is it? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it, honestly. Obviously, it's a valid choice in relationships. Obviously, it's adjacent to your lifestyle. But I don't think that anyone goes like, I want to go to a polyamory-friendly place, or I prefer hanging out at polyamory-friendly MMOs. Like that's not the thing. That's not the thing. And I don't understand why it would need to be a thing, because it's such a small matter and it is also very personal. Why would it be a thing? Like, I don't know. Let's take another example. In Guild Wars 2, in my advertisement for my guild, I do mention, for example, that like, yeah, we're LGBT friendly, meaning we don't discriminate, because I guess, LGBT does get some discrimination in MMOs, depending on which MMO. So, it's something worth saying, it's something worth bringing up. But are you saying, like, video lady, are you trying to tell me that polyamory is getting so bullied that at this point it needs safe spaces? Because if that's so, that's like, that is like extremely bad if that's the case, because it's such a small matter that doesn't affect anything, because it doesn't have to do with anything else, like how you dress, how you talk, how you walk, how you behave, how your sexuality, it's nothing. Why would that be something that people would mock, for example, is beyond me. Then again, we did just watch like people making fun of, right? So maybe it is getting to the point where it needs some support, I guess, at this point. But when did it get that bad, though? Man, I have missed a lot, apparently. Holy shit.
It was founded by a woman called Ryam Nearing and her two husbands. Historian Christopher M. Gleason states in American Poly, a book on the history of polyamory in North America, Nearing was uniquely suited to fight for ethical non-monogamy with the cultural climate of the Reagan era. He states that Nearing was pro-family, pro-fidelity, and a fiscal conservative. Joined by Deborah Anapol, a polyamorous clinical psychologist, Nearing presented a form of non-monogamy that did not chide conservative reverence for family values. Non-monogamy could be the loyal spouse's helpmeet, they argued, a release valve that might keep a frustrated wife or husband from blowing the roof off the entire institution. Fascinating. Putting that aside,
Did that just say that like there is benefit in polyamory because it can save a marriage by offering variety. So my views on this are, marriage is something sacred, but not in a religious sense to me, but in the sense of like it signifies, right? It signifies that you and another person have bonded beyond anything else. At which point you have chosen exclusivity for sure with one person permanently. That's it. That's how I view marriage. Like you dedicate, you commit to that one person, and saying like, oh, I can be married, but like I can be poor. Like for me, for example, in the example that I mentioned, right, in the two examples that I brought earlier, where I mentioned that both couples that I interacted with were engaged, or at least one of them, the other one probably, I don't fucking know, but they seemed very close. I don't remember anymore if I noticed a ring or anything, but there is a gray area there for me, in particular, because I am I am the outside factor in this, right? If those two don't have the same views on marriage, I don't give a fuck, okay? But if I were to be married, which I never will, because I do respect it in that regard too much, I would. It would necessarily mean for me that I personally would not want my partner anymore to have any polyamorous relationships of any sort, and myself as well. So, yeah. You might think that's like double standards. You might think that's pretentious because, oh, Daphne, why then did you allow that person to touch your thigh and tell you that he would laugh if you helped his partner to suck his cock or something? Why did you allow that? And my response to that is that like that's their moral obligation, not mine. I am the third party. I can do whatever the fuck I want. It's between them to sort it out. They're the ones getting married. It's not me. If they don't think that like marriage is something sacred, that's fine by me. I don't really hold it against them. They can do whatever the fuck they want. I don't care. But as far as I go, once marriage is involved, for me, not for others, but for me, if I was to be married, that's the end game. That's it. It's not the end game. It's like game over. You don't, no more polyamory stuff. Like you commit. You make that promise to commit to that person. On a level where I just can't commit to a person like that. Like existentially, I just can't fucking commit like that. Other people might be able to, and that's fine. But the moment that they start including me, apparently they have been liars to each other. The way that I see it, if they're married. But it's no skin off my back because I will take advantage of it because why the fuck not? I'm not married to them. They're married between each other. They can figure it out. I don't care. Maybe in their head, marriage means something completely different. But, me being me, obviously, if that wasn't, obvious, I can't agree with this previous, like, weird description like this. Could be the loyal spouse's helpmeet? What the fuck is a helpmeet? A release valve? I don't want to have a release valve. If I fucking marry, I don't need a release valve, right? That's why I'll never marry, by the way. But I'm just saying, if I were to, and I would certainly hope that if I had a husband or a wife, that they wouldn't be frustrated to the point of like blowing the roof off the entire institution, to quote. Like that sounds like a very failed marriage. And I also, as a polyamorous person, I also wouldn't want to be used in this way from a married couple, because that is like literally taking advantage of, and I don't vibe with that shit. I don't know. This whole small paragraph here, or sentence, I guess, or maybe paragraph, That is, wow, that is like insulting to me as a poly person.
Blowing the roof off the entire institution. Fascinating. Putting that aside, generally, at least in North America, polyamory was and is countercultural. 3 years ago now, I made a video on amatonormativity, which in short...
What? Amatonormativity. Amatonormativity. Dude, I'm looking this up right now. I don't even know what the fuck this is. And I'm not waiting for her to tell me. I'm fucking... Okay, what's the definition of that word, Google? So, it's a set of societal assumptions that everyone prospers with an exclusive romantic relationship. I get it. I get it. Yeah, that I can say that this is usually this is widespread. I would say, yeah, a lot of people believe that true happiness can only be found in exclusivity, in monogamy, I guess, which is wrong. I don't think it is true. I think that, like, from my experiences at least, I have very strong evidence that this is not true. But it could be very personal to each person, I guess. So yeah, so that's what would make it an assumption, because yeah, you're just assuming. So for example, if you're if you're not polyamorous, let's say, right, you would assume that me, being polyamorous, I would only find true happiness if I also were in exclusive relation. Yeah, that's kind of like false. That is very false. Anyway.
Is the cultural notion that all people want to be in a romantic relationship, and that is how one achieves a fulfilled life. It's really helpful in understanding
it's part of the usual, because you do get that a lot as a polyamorous person when it comes into discussions. Like, do you think the usual question that people use, that people ask me is like, but wouldn't you be happier, like, if you found one person that absolutely fulfills your every need, your every desire, your everything, like, in one person, would you feel the need to be polyamorous anymore? Like, in a hypothetical example like that. Yes, I would still feel need, I think, but I can't know, because such a person just simply doesn't exist. Which is why polyamory exists. So it's kind of like paradoxical to ask that. But I can definitely understand people who, yeah, for whom like one partner is definitely enough. I definitely understand that. And what people seem to miss is that, like, I can also have a partner like that, which does fulfill me completely, and still look for more. Which is, for example, the case that, my current case is that, right? I'm very happy with my partner. I'm actually very much in love with my partner, and I'm very happy with them, with him. It's not them, sorry. But do I feel there is something missing? Yes, definitely. Am I still looking for that something that I'm missing? Yes, very much so. And would I also say the same if I were to find another person like this? Would I then say the same about them, like that they make me extremely happy, I'm very happy with them? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I absolutely would. If that was really the case, I absolutely would say the same. Yeah, for both people, or how many ever they were. So I think that, I don't know, it's a myth that, like, oh, but if you found one person who had everything you wanted, why would you look for another person? I don't know, my dude. That's how my brain works. That's how my heart is wired. That's how I am. It is just, it reminds me of the example of my father where he was like, if you were on an island, completely alone, separated from everything, a different reality where your physical appearance doesn't matter and nobody's there to witness you or validate you in any way, would you still care about identifying as female? And the answer was yes. Yeah, because it starts and begins like inside me. It is just how I'm fucking wired. That's how I feel. It will not change according to people's beliefs or disagreements or anything else. It's just how I am. It's simple. So what does it matter to me if there are people who will not... What if there are no people at all, so nobody can actually call me here because nobody's there to talk, and I can't hear anyone because I'm a disembodied soul? Would I still identify as female? Would I still feel that way? Yes. It's just part of who I am. That's what it means, that it's part of who I am. It has nothing to do with anyone around me, I guess. And so it's the same with being polyamorous. It's like on that level where that's how I am. Seriously. Ever since I consciously realized it's I knew it's part of me. It's just how I am. So even if I found the best partner ever, by definition of somebody exclusive, I guess, who feels my every need, my every this, yeah, I would still look. I would still be open. I would still look. Not because I want to fuck around. I can do that anytime I want. I don't care about that. I mean, I do, but it's not my main motivation. It's that yeah, there's space for more, and I hate feeling a gap, and by definition, that gap cannot be filled by one person. That's the problem. Oh, but what if the person was able to fill that gap? But they're not. It's just, it hasn't happened. That's the thing. You can't ask me questions like that. You can't ask me, but what if it did? But it doesn't. It doesn't matter. Your question is I can't, it's unknowable. The answer to your question is unknowable because it's not part of our reality, whether you like it or not. It's but what if vanilla tasted like lemon? I don't know, dude. It tastes like vanilla, though. I don't know what would happen then. We would probably change its name or something because, it's like asking, oh, but what would you do if, the internet hadn't been covered? I don't know. How do you want me to answer that? It's not part of our reality. End of story. How the fuck do you want me to answer? What if you weren't human? I don't fucking know. How do you expect me to know? I can't even begin to imagine. So yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's Daxi was Greek, by the way. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why I get that question of, but if you found one person that could feel everyone, I could find the person who fills every single hole of mine, literally or not. I would still look for another person in that case too. That's how paradoxical it is. It's a paradox. You're asking me but can't you find what you're looking for in one person? No, because what I'm looking for is not one person. So it just doesn't compute. Or but what does your gender matter? Can't you just say that you're male? Did you have to take HRT to feel comfortable? What does it matter? It's just a body. Well, I don't know what to tell you. That's how I feel. It's nothing to do with looks. If I was disembodied completely, I was a soul, and another soul asked me something, and they refer to me as he, him, for example, I would say, hey, do you mind? I would, yeah, I would. That's how I feel. As simple as that. doesn't have to do with a body or anything. It's literally how you feel. And so everyone has the right to feel the way they want to feel, you know, the way they feel. Ah, well, whatever. Let's go on.
Romanticism, but also in part polyamory. Because under matronormativity is the prescribed idea that a person should find the one, their other half, i.e. a single
And
romantic
what I said,
partner.
by the way, doesn't contradict what I've said before, where I've mentioned sometimes that like I see somebody and they're not working towards supporting their claim about their identity in any capacity, way or form or shape. And in those cases, I just can't acknowledge it. In those fringe cases, I just can't acknowledge it. Because for better or worse, we do have a body and it is an expression of ourselves, or we can use it as an expression of our soul, if you would like, or our spirit, or our energy, or anything else you might fucking believe that we are. And even if you believe in none of that, you can still say, hey, we still style our hair in some way, we still dress a certain way, we still express our feelings, views, and everything through our material self, right? So it doesn't contradict it, because simply if you do feel like that, you can't really help it. You are going to express it somehow, right? But if you're not expressing it at all and you don't feel the necessity to express it at all, then I will question it, you know? So, yeah. It doesn't exactly contradict it. In a hypothetical scenario where we were just like spirits that are invisible to each other, even, so just basically thoughts that communicate somehow. If somebody wasn't exhibiting like feminine characteristics in you know, in their behavior and thoughts and like whatever, and they're like and everything, you know, I would still question it. So again, it's like not just your body, I guess. But anyway, this is going way too deep right now. I'm not ready for this.
Partner to complete them, aka mononormativity. Monogamy is the default. There is also the concept of the relationship escalator, the default set of societal expectations for intimate relationships, i.e. the goal at the top of the escalator is to achieve a permanently monogamous, sexually and romantically exclusive between two people, cohabiting marriage, legally sanctioned if possible. In many cases, buying a house and having kids is also part of the goal. Partners are expected to remain together at the top of the escalator until death. Polyamory challenges this. The "are we exclusive" chat happens quite differently. You may live with and co-parent with more people. Your goal might not to
I don't know. I don't feel like I'm challenging anything or anyone. I'm not gonna lie.
be with a certain partner forever. This is countercultural, at least where I'm from, and probably where you're from too. And if I haven't already rubbed some people the wrong way, here's where it gets extra dicey. Polyamory does not necessitate queerness, but some
That was the mind-blowing fact.
describe it as a queer practice. Wait, let me finish. I'm not saying that if you're monogamous and LGBT that you're some heteronormative, sellout, assimilist shill or whatever. There's straight people who practice polyamory. In fact, some aggressively straight people practice it. If someone who is cis-het says that they're queer simply because of polyamory, yeah, I can see why that rubs people
No, that's dumb
the wrong
to say. Actually, that's legitimately just stupid to say.
way. You know what? Here's someone who made some very interesting points. Better than I could have.
A lot of the times, I feel like people justify ostracizing marginalized demographics just because they can. I think people don't view polyamorous people as marginalized, even though they are. In a similar way, I feel like aromantic, asexual people, intersex people are marginalized, but because we don't fit into a specific demographic, we're kind of othered. And I think polyamorous people are similar.
Well, that's sad then. If it's reached that point with being polyamorous, that's extremely sad.
At the same time, we are still marginalized because we go against the grain of like what's expected in society, and we're treated differently because of it. You know what I mean? And a lot of times there's overlap in these ostracized, marginalized groups with neurodivergency, queerness, fat phobia, disability,
All
etc.
right, so one quick parenthesis, fat phobia. I'm gonna say this, you're gonna hate me. So being overweight or obese, right? Slightly overweight is fine, but reaching like but far surpassing what is healthy for your body, let's put it this way. I don't think it should be shamed. I don't think it should be attacked. But I do think it's something like having a cold, right? You need to treat that. Unfortunately, it's a kind of cold that's not going to pass. You have to actively work on it. So, if I see, for example, somebody who's overweight, right? And I have familiarity with them, because otherwise it's not really my business. But if I have enough familiarity with them, I can definitely suggest to them they need to look into it, because it's just not healthy. Which is that is like just factual, right? I don't think that's fat phobia, but under no circumstance would I tell a person, hey, you want to be obese? You go, girl or boy or anything. That is something I will never do. I will never support this. If somebody is unhealthily overweight, I will always. And here is the tiny letters at the bottom is that like, is there really any degree to which you can be overweight but healthy? Is there really though? I don't think so. I don't know. And so that's why I'm kind of skeptical towards the whole fat phobia, because yeah, I get that it refers mostly to bullying because of your body weight. I understand that. Okay, that should never happen. But at the same time, let's be real. In most of the situations, it's actually the person just needs to diet and drop down to healthy levels. In reality. But hating them or shaming them obviously isn't the way to go forward and should never be done. But the problem is that's where the problem is, that like if I do speak up, if I do say, if I'm sitting on a table and there's like 6 people and one of them is like overweight, and I do say, damn, you got some extra right there, if the context allows it and the familiarity allows it, I might say, hey, do you feel like maybe somebody tells me something along the lines of, I'm kind of tired all the time, or I feel physically shit because I can't fucking get upstairs or something. It's likely that I will say, well, maybe it's time to lose some weight, And if that person then turns, which, it happens sometimes, if that person then turns and says, oh, that's fatphobic, I'm just gonna roll my eyes. I'm sorry. That's not fatphobia. This is talking to the person. It's not shaming them. It's like, hey, maybe then, if you're actively telling me that it affects your quality of life, maybe you should lose some weight, right? So, I don't know. I'm a bit torn on the whole fatphobia thing because it's very... It's complicated, I guess. I don't know. But for example, I've been called fatphobic because in a social context, a friend of a friend basically, who was obese, was like, oh, you're working out? I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, you should do this and that and that and that. I can help you. But like in a very thoughtful way, like, oh, do what I'm saying, like you should eat this and that and this often. And at that point, I just turned and told them, like, I don't think I will take your advice on healthy dieting, I think. And the person was like, oh my god, you're fat phobic, you're this and that. Bro, whatever you were trying to sell me doesn't even work for yourself, so why would I listen to you? And to be honest, like, whatever he was suggesting was also incorrect. I remember it at the time that it was actually incorrect. And, you know, sometimes there's a saying that goes like, do as I say and not as I do. But it wasn't one of those cases, because the stuff that the guy was suggesting that I do were nonsense, honestly. Like, literally nonsense. And so I said, I don't think I'm going to take your advice. And the person was like, oh, then you're fat phobic. And I'm like, okay, cool. And there has been like a similar incident which had to do with gender, where I was called transphobic. So I was, at the time, I hadn't started HRT, right? And I was looking into it, and I was trying to do it through the public sector. I was trying to do it through the public system, the government system, let's say, of Greece. And believe me, it was impossible and a shit show. It was an absolute shit show. At the time that I tried it with the government, with a public way, let's say, I was required at that time, for anything to happen, for them to cover any medical expenses or anything at all, I had to sign a paper where it said that basically I admit that I'm mentally ill. Which, bro. Good old Greece, right? Oh, the fucking... When was this? I don't even remember. But good old Greece, yeah. Obviously, I didn't sign the paper. I don't know if that's the case still today, but whatever, I don't care anymore. I was traumatized enough by that attempt to do it, you know, to have the government contribute to my medical expenses. That caused me fucking PTSD. I just moved public, you know, privately after that. But anyway, the point was, I met a person there, because I had to go there to a particular, like, council, let's say, who were evaluating my case or something. It was a shit show, I'm telling you. It was a hurtful, boring, and tedious shit show. I had to take multiple tests, which consisted of like pages upon pages upon pages upon pages of like multiple answer questions, which I had to fill, which took like 1 or 2 hours each, and I had to do this like repeatedly. And again, as I said, I had to, for some reason, convince that council, but not in a healthy way, but rather in a way of literally pitching them a sale. Like, oh, I want to start HRT because this and that, but not in a healthy way. Again, they wanted me to sell it aggressively, like as if I'm selling a product or something, which I don't know, man. That's just the way that I feel, right? And I just want my exterior to match my interior. Can you fucking help? But no, they wanted me to sell it as in, you know, oh yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm just gonna say it straight up. They wanted me to say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be a whore, and that's how I'm gonna make money. I'm gonna be a fucking a transsexual prostitute, and I'm really happy to do that because I have mental illnesses." Like that's literally what they were pushing to say. Welcome to Greece, motherfucker. And anyway, the point wasn't even that, but it just surfaced. I'm sorry, I was venting there. There was this lady there, a trans person herself. Now she traumatized me for sure, because for example we were in the waiting room together, and she would. There was no surveillance by the way there, and she would be like, care to have a smoke with me, and I would be like, yeah, sure. And so we were having a smoke there, and she was like, hey, where are your boobs? And I was like, huh? And she was like, where are your boobs? Like, are you female or male? And I'm like, I don't know. I identify as she, her. Like, what the fuck do you want me to say? I don't get the question. Like, I just want to, like, do this and that. And she was like, yeah, but, like, are you a woman? Like, in a black and white world, are you a fucking woman or a man? And I'm like, that's, what? And then she said, look here. And she literally fucking lifted her shirt and showed me her boobs. And I was like, hey, I don't want to be seeing that, okay? I don't necessarily want to be seeing that. I think I'm gonna, like, leave right now, okay? Great boobs, but I'm not into that, alright? So, I don't, like, and when I say not into that, I meant, like, I don't want to be in this situation right now. What the fuck is going on? You know? It was whatever, dude. And then, because I reacted that way, to bring it to the point, because I reacted that way, she started calling me fucking transphobic, and I was like, no, I don't want to look at your boobs. Like, I don't care if you're a woman or a man. I'm not looking at your boobs. That's it. I'm not interested in anyone's boobs, okay? I'm sorry. What the fuck? It doesn't matter that they were a trans person. They could have been a female, natural born female. I would have reacted the same. Like, lady, fucking, I don't care about your boobs. Like, put them back in there. I don't care. What the fuck are you doing? But in her case, I was called transphobic for that. And that, like, I don't know. I guess people just, I don't know. This is not to throw shade at, like, trans people. This was obviously an individual, like one person. I don't go around showing my boobs to people and screaming at them, are you a man or are you a woman? Like, it was such a derailed situation. Oh my god. I'm just gonna move on.
And a lot of you guys use this othering as a way to justify your ableism, fat phobia, queer phobia, what have you. And so I want to hop on here because I'm seeing a lot of different people come on here and be like, hey, this is fucked up. And then people are like, well, of course you'd say that. You look exactly like the stereotype of polyamorous people. But I don't. And I'm still polyamorous. And I implore you to really sit with yourself and invoke why you feel the need to laugh amongst others and why you feel the need to put yourself in a superior complex and put others in an inferior complex, especially when it doesn't harm themselves or others. You know what I mean? Like, how does someone else's decision, lifestyle, and ability to love multiple people affect you? And why does it bother you enough to bully them?
So basically now polyamorous people are the next fucking punching bag of bullies. Dude, they're gonna run out of punching bags at one point or other, are they? I wonder what they're gonna do then. Like, what are they gonna do then? Like, just get depressed because they can't bully anyone else? Like, they bullied everyone to a point where it's become, like, boring even to them? And at that point, they're gonna, like, just, wither away because they can't bully anymore? or are they gonna find something else? Like, I don't know. I don't even care to fucking understand how that works.
So not all polyamorous folks are queer. There are some hetero poly people, okay? I would say, personally, that polyamory is not a sexual orientation, but a relationship orientation. But there is a reason that LGBT people historically have been more open to non-monogamy, or at least reported to be. Important historical context, because being gay was illegal in the US, gay people practice non-monogamy, at least in part.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's going to be some historical context. I mean, there are lots of, like, factors that played in, right? Because if, for example, society was pushing against polyamory, let's say, or against being gay, for example, or whatever you want to be, that they don't see as normal, you would inadvertently want to have a front, a window to cover. So, because if society expected you that, like, oh, you have to have a wife and a family, you would find yourself having a family, I guess. You'd not, you'd not, you would not stop being gay. So, what's the next step? Maintain that family, which is the front, but also look for a gay partner, for example, in this example, right? What does that make you? Inadvertently, even though you may have not wanted that, it does make you polyamorous, technically, because you are maintaining your front, the marriage and everything, but you are also having another partner. So what is that technically? Like semantically, that's polyamory. And perhaps that's why I disagree with those statistics, because they're based on like some really strange social situations. But in a vacuum, I disagree with them. I don't think that, like, you get what I'm saying? I hope you get what I'm saying, because I can't explain it any better. But in a vacuum, somebody who is like LGBT plus or whatever oriented, that has no impact on whether or not they're going to be poly. Having to maintain the facade of being into being straight, and then because of that being forced to have a second partner, which is your actual orientation, which is a very unfortunate position to be in, of course, and I do sympathize. And obviously that sucks, whenever it happened. But that doesn't make you actually polyamorous, It's just that you're technically polyamorous because you need to maintain two partners. So these cases, so that's why maybe these statistics are skewed, and why I don't agree with them whenever the lady said, "Oh, most of them are divorced." Yeah, of course, if they were married to a person, but they didn't really want to be, wouldn't they divorce? Like, come on, dude.
Not being free to legally embrace their partners and openly. That is a point that I need to acknowledge. However, there is something to be said about how people who are already challenging the societal norm in who they date and how they look may be more likely to challenge the societal norm of how they date.
That is also true, because by definition, if you're more open-minded, well, obviously you're more I don't mean susceptible. That's not the right word, but you're more flexible with your views, which means that you might also try to be polyamorous. You might also try to, and of course, being LGBT does kind of come with a, on average, with a degree of flexibility in general in your views and in the way that you are. So yeah, it's not crazy that an LGBT individual would be more likely to consider having, for example, multiple partners, just because by default they're more open-minded. But I think it's more like, what I'm trying to get to is that it's more that they are by default more open-minded, and less that they are like trans or gay or lesbian or whatever else. If that makes sense to you.
i.e., how many people? Queerness, in many ways, is about loving outside of the norm, and polyamory can run in parallel to that definition. Queerness and the ability to explore what type of relationships you want to have in the world.
I would not say that they go hand in hand, because I do know individuals who are part of the LGBTQ plus community who just don't want. I actually know. Actually, the majority of them seem to prefer, at least recently, the last like couple of years, they seem to prefer exclusive relationships.
Go hand in hand. You're exploring who you are in the universe, but you're also
But they
exploring
also
how
seem
you
to prefer to cheat a lot. I have to say that.
relate to other beings in
Whereas,
this
for example,
universe.
I feel that cheating is the worst thing you can do to someone. And yes, there is, of course, you can cheat or be cheated on in a polyamorous relationship. Of course, you can do that.
So it's no surprise that the conservative opposition to polyamory and or consensual non-monogamy is closely related to their aversion to queerness and deviant romantic and sexual behaviour. Whether a poly person is queer or not, I think conservatives who look at it and go, ew, see it as the same thing. Also, I can't help but notice that the negative things people say about poly people mirror the things that people say about bisexuals.
Greedy, choose one. I don't know though, because too much bisexual pride leads to this.
Verity Ritchie has a PhD in bisexual law, and in her video, Why We Hate Bi Women, it inspired the title of this video. There's also an equivalent on bisexual men.
In fact, the video is even more relevant than I remembered because there's a whole chapter on non-monogamy and how it's associated with bisexuality. So yeah, just to be clear, what I'm about to say is massively like summarizing and condensing and narrowing in on just one aspect of the whole video.
She argues that people's aversion to bisexual women comes from the association with sex, sexual promiscuity. When a woman says she's bisexual, there's an instant association with multiple sexual partners, men and women. They become hypersexualized. I believe
with all of this, obviously, there's nothing to say. This is all correct. These also play, like, yeah, definitely play a huge role in why somebody would immediately respond very negatively to the point of bigotry towards like polyamorous people. I get it. Okay.
the same association happens when someone says that they are polyamorous. Not
I
just
think the reason that it has surfaced like recently so much could be, and I'm hypothesizing wildly right now, but it could be because conservative, regular ass normies. I'm sorry, but I have to use these words because my brain is tired right now. No offense to, conservative, regular ass normies. But like not being chosen as the one for someone, as the one of someone else, kind of like in their own mind devalues them. So if, for example, a person like that came to me and said, hey, you wanna be together, again, like just using very simple words right now because brain tired already, and I said sure, but I'm polyamorous though, so I'm gonna have other partners, that's part of the package, then that kind of like will probably make that person hate me. Even though, even like if it's, I don't know, any other kind of person, not even just conservative and like, all that stuff. I guess it can have the same effect on other people as well, where basically by saying that, you are blocking them from having you, if that makes sense, because you're not their one, you see. And in their head, they need to be that one for you, or for their chosen partner, I guess. And not being that makes you less in their eyes. Which I guess that could result in some anger, some childish kind of anger where the person must be like, why am I not enough? Like, in other words, they would take it personally and think that basically you're telling them that they're not enough or something, but in a bad way, like, oh, you're not enough for me. It's not a matter of enough. It's a matter of I feel that with this amount of people I would be happy. I feel that with X or Y or Z amount I'd be more fulfilled. I would feel that there is no gap in my heart. and telling somebody that no matter how hard they try, they will never completely, fully be able to fill that gap in you, can make them hate you. Because I think they, as I said, they take it personally, as in they take it as an insult, I guess. Understandable, because they don't understand how I feel, for example. And they can't believe me when I tell them, for example, like, no, it doesn't mean that I will love you less. It doesn't mean that, I think you're not enough. It doesn't mean, it's not a matter of enough. It's as simple as that. Doesn't mean that, like, I will ignore you or anything. But yeah, of course, to the other person, and especially a conservative person, like, let's take it from the very beginning. Like, a conservative person, for example, would they would even look down on, like, sex workers, right? They would not consider them as a partner, for example, because of their profession. So obviously they wouldn't consider anyone who doesn't, put them on a pedestal in their hearts. Makes sense. And then that causes some negative feelings, some hatred, I guess, or, or despise, I guess. Because, they can see it as inappropriate or lesser behavior, I guess, or something. I don't know. I'm not cooking very well right now, but I hope that the meaning kind of comes across here. But yeah, brain tired, honestly, right now.
Monogamous, because people forget that it isn't just about sex. Polyamory. To be clear, having lots
that
of
too as
consensual
well. Like what she said as well. That trap right there. That trap right there. Oh, you're polyamorous. You must be a slut. Like, no, no. I have actually very high standards, and I have my criteria, and there are things that I demand from my partners, and there are things that I provide to my partners, and it's a healthy relationship. It's not like randomly fucking every dude or whatever that I meet indiscriminately, and that's I can't get enough cock or I can't get enough pussy. It's not like that. It really isn't. Though that is not to say that there aren't people who, well, they are like that. No sugarcoating it. And that's their fucking prerogative, right? Who the fuck cares? But all I'm saying is that, like, somebody is likely to shit on them, and they're also likely to shit on me. And yeah, I understand why, but it's stupid and wrong. So whatever.
sex is fine. But society, shrug. I think you also find this among people who are hypersexualized in society. If your baseline sexuality is seen as too sexual, then you might find that you're more free to challenge some of the sex negative concepts the society hypersexualizing you throws back at you. If you're already on the margins and derided by society when you're harming no one, it gives you a better way of looking at other practices which aren't harming anyone. Hence the aversion to people who look like that. Looking like that signals a way of life that you disagree with. It threatens them because having to question your life path requires thought, energy, and decision making. That's why conservatism isn't just a personal opposition to a different way of life, but political. Someone else living their life differently doesn't just challenge me personally, but the fabric of society that is safe and familiar to me. You can say that this is due to fear or envy.
I mean, these are very old concepts, all right? These are very old concepts that have been there forever. Yeah, you threaten the world views and the existential views of, like, somebody who is, like, part of the normal society, and immediately you're gonna have backlash. Yeah, I mean, yes, they're gonna be afraid of what's different. They're gonna like despise what's different. And as Yoda loves to say, you know, from hatred grows fear, and from fear grows this, and like, you know, all that stuff. It's true. It's actually true. If you don't understand something, you're scared of it. If you're scared of it, you respond with hatred. You know, yeah, of course. And so, you know, then the next different thing, I guess, that like normie society is focusing on is now apparently polyamory, which I wasn't aware of, but here we are. Wow. So you could say now that I actually have activated another difficulty modifier in life, because not only am I trans, but I'm also polyamorous. Yay! Even more shit, you know, that makes people for some fucking reason hate me even more. Hooray, I guess, for me. Well, whatever. I'm not gonna change like how I am or anything. Interesting video. I'm not gonna watch the rest of it. I more or less get it, and I can see why people hate polyamorous people. As I said, I understand it, but understanding stupidity doesn't mean you condone it or that you accept that. You just understand what a fucking challenged brain can think, right? Because these brains are challenged, literally, because they feel challenged by, you know, other people being different. You know, they're literally challenged. In their eyes, that's a challenge, you know? They look at you and you go like, and they go like, why are you different? I don't know, dude. What do you want me to say? Why are you different? But no, why are you different? And you're like, there's no discussion. There's no like, there's nothing there. To me, all this is perfectly encapsulated in an experience I had. There I was, pre-HRT, hanging out. Not that it mattered whether I was on HRT or not, but I'm trying to place it chronologically. That's why I'm mentioning shit like that. It doesn't play a role in the story. But there I was. And it was one of those Saturdays where we were getting fucking shit-faced with a gang, with the RPG gang. We were, you know, 10 people, 12 people at the time. We had finished our session and it was fine, you know, some good dice were rolled, some good stories were told, some fun was had. And we were like, hey, let's fucking go and have some beer, some drinks over at the, what the fuck was it called anyway? I'm hard pressed to remember the name of the bar. Anyway, it was a local bar, and they would allow us, because we were very good customers as well. Like I was a very good customer, and I guess they liked the people that I brought and everything, you know, kind of thing. And they would allow us to have like the upper floor all to ourselves, and they would literally dedicate a waitress to basically be there to cater to us specifically, you know, being on the upper floor where normally that would be off limits, and everyone else, you know, was supposed to be downstairs anyway. But yeah, and there we were, the whole floor to ourselves, huge table in the middle, very long one, you know, couches spread around, like everybody just sitting on everyone, like just fucking around. Not literally, just, you know, messing about, you know, some weed was going on. It was like, it was fine, you know. We were drinking like shots and beer and whatever else. It was generally just a 10 out of 10 night. And there is this person who I didn't know at all. You know, he wasn't part of my RPG group in any capacity. But he was a friend of somebody there. Anyway, the guy was studying to be a priest, right? He was studying theology, which is basically just studying to be, at least in Greece, it's like studying to be a Christian Orthodox like priest, right? A priest, full-blown priest, complete with your, you know, white collar thingy and like, you know, just a priest, right? And he was absolutely fucking mind blown by my existence, by me existing, right? And so the moment that encapsulates all this weirdness of like, but why are you different? Is like he literally just he had a bit to drink, by the way. So he touches my thigh. I was wearing fishnets as well. He touches my thigh, kind of like caresses my thigh a little bit and goes like, I don't understand what you are. And I'm like, you don't have to. Okay, let's drink some fucking beer. And the guy was like, yeah, let's drink some fucking beer. And I said, okay, what are you doing for, you know, what are you doing with your life? And he said, oh, I'm studying to be a priest. And I said, well, for a priest, you know, you got some gropey hands on you. And he was like, yeah, no, but like, I don't understand. But I don't understand. But also let me grope. Don't worry, I stopped him completely from touching me. But I just found it amusing, and I think it really just encapsulates the weirdness of the situation, I guess. I don't understand why people are, why people feel so challenged by whatever is different. Anyway, wow. I'm dropping this video, not because it was bad, it was actually a good video. It was everything I was, you know, it was everything I didn't want it to be. I'm not gonna lie. It was everything I didn't want to be. It feels like I'm back in the fucking 90s or 2000s and realizing that I'm something that offends society once more. Ugh. What fucking ever. Hey, you wanna have one partner? More power to you, mate. You go on and have one partner. We don't have to fuck. And we don't have to be, you know, girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever else. We don't have to be a couple or partners. You don't have to hate me for it. You know, more power to you. Go find a partner. Why do we need to hate each other? I don't fucking understand. Why do you feel the need to, like, for me to be less than you because I have chosen differently? I don't fucking understand. This world needs to chill. That's what I will say. This world needs to fucking chill, and people need to start getting along, because it's all bickering, pointless fucking bickering that just does nothing. It's fucking accomplishes nothing. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna restart my stream, and we're watching this. And don't worry, I know it's intimidating to see 52 minutes. I know it's intimidating, but it is very possible that I'm gonna be skipping through a lot, because, like, well, what do you expect to hear anyway? We've probably heard it all before, but, you know, I kind of want to see what it's about. Like, well, what will this veteran, this, you know, venerable titan of Final Fantasy is going to say? I'm curious. Because, yeah, 10,000 hours makes you a fucking venerable titan. So, yeah. But I'm gonna stop the stream before we do that because of the desync problem. So I'm just gonna pin that, and I'm gonna, like, close my browser. And I'm gonna tell you that if you're not interested to listen to me yap about Final Fantasy once more, which has become my favorite lol cow at this point, you can just, you know, tune out, I guess. So I guess this separation of streams is, you know, is helpful. And it's also helpful for me, because then I don't have to edit anything. post-stream. And I also can look like I'm dishing out more content, right? So it's a win-win. But thanks for being here. If I don't see you in 5 minutes, which is when I will start again, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening and keeping me company. And hey, don't fucking demonize what you don't understand or what you didn't like, what you don't feel like, right? Still human. Trust me, still fucking human, whether you want to believe it or not. So, treat each other as human, first and foremost. Because if you don't do that, the other person's choices don't even come into play. You're already being unjust and unfair towards them. So first of all, we're all human. So treat each other like humans. Then we can, enlighten each other about our choices and revel in the individuality that being human brings. Right? Anyway, see you in 5. Bye for now.